Check the back seat.
All right, come here.
Check the back seat.
Gets in your head, right? Good. Because every year, dozens of children are forgotten in the backseat of a car by a parent or caregiver. All never thought it could happen to them. But with changes in routines, distractions, or a sleeping child, it can happen to anyone. Parked cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. So get it in your head.
Check the back seat.
A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Crossover. Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover and just crossed him over. Danced him.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
It is time for the crossover, brought to you by Everlow Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlowconcrete.com. Hold on.
Huh?
Are we up? Are we up on 1620 The Zone TV?
Yes, we are.
Whoa. Digital boys. Look at us go.
Jeez.
Hey, it's the digital guy in for the radio guy.
Indeed.
Yes, we're back on 1620 The Zone TV.
Wow. Wow. Huge.
We're back.
Huge.
I know. I just watched this whole operation for the 5 minutes in the crossover of Nick, Peter, and you making sure that we're up. So thank you.
Looks like there's nobody working on the computer, so we're good.
Austin, are you in the
I'll just pay
newest
attention to the
upcoming
comments.
season of Stranger Things?
No, I'm just ready for my Creed concert is what I am. That's all. I've got my cut off jean jacket on, my Quest working jacket. This is in Omaha. This is a working man's blue collar right here.
Hey, I don't
right?
know if you wait a minute, let me see the logo.
Yeah. So
Okay.
don't worry, that's the right one.
Okay.
This is a lineman's old jacket.
Or we're
right?
going to call
Hey.
you in as a closer.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Um
Play
Listen,
some wild thing.
I put in my first hit of dip like at 4:30 this morning. I was ready. I was ready to rock.
Hit of dip.
Hit of dip. You've never heard this much panhandle on 1620 The Zone before. I'm about to hit
Is
so
that-
much panhandle.
okay. Because I know you just went there. You went back to your roots.
When was that? I don't remember that.
I followed along
Oh, did
of
you?
your journey
Oh,
out
my
west.
Great Western Nebraska road trip where I went to Wayne. I had a lot of people upset about that. That was actually the
How
first
were the
time people got
mountains?
mad at me. Well, notably Wayne State, the entirety of the state. It was great. It was a fun time. That Wayne State Bubble Dome,
Yeah.
that thing's crazy. I mean, how can a D2 college afford that type of luxury? I wouldn't know. I'm just from Kearney.
I've only been to Wayne a couple of times, and
Wayne, America.
Wayne State
Mhm.
is really, really nice. Okay. I would like to go to Chicken Days
Mm.
in Wayne.
I did pass a billboard for the Thurston Watermelon Festival. I'm
Okay.
very excited about that. I do have it on my calendar. I think it's coming up actually this weekend. I mean,
Is Wayne still just perpetually under construction?
wasn't that bad when I was there.
Isn't the entire state of Nebraska perpetually
No.
under road construction?
That's Omaha and the interstate.
Oh,
Basically, Omaha.
be careful the next time you drive down to Lincoln.
Oh yeah.
Detours to detours to detours.
Well, Lincoln notoriously an easy city to drive through anyway. So
Crime town, drive fast.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. And we're Swim Town, and then Indianapolis stole Swim Town, so we got no identity here.
Mm.
But we don't have the crime that you have in Lincoln.
Wow.
Or if we have crime, at least we have funny crime.
Are we having a crime off right now?
We're having a crime off.
Okay.
Having a
All right.
crime
Yes.
off.
You want to have a crime off? I think I've told this before. I think I've said this on a crossover before. The funniest crime that's ever happened in Sydney, Nebraska is Peter just walking around. No, you're doing your thing. Funniest crime that ever happened in Sydney, Nebraska. I learned about it in 4th grade. It's part of the upbringing history class. A man stole from the bank with a milk crate, and all the money spilled out as he tried to make his escape. That was the best crime that we ever had in Sydney. What happened to you, Gary?
Oh, are we just like our hometown
Yeah.
crime off?
You want to have a hometown crime off? Yeah. Do you have any hometown crime?
Here, I'll crime.
But I didn't
I'm
grow
gonna
up.
crime you guys
I didn't
off
grow
right
up in
now.
a small town. Hey, hold on. I don't think I can participate in this because I didn't grow up in a small town. So we had like real crime.
I do look like I can go to a Jason Aldean concert. Try that in a
Is
small
Creed
town.
at, is this the Stir Cove weekend?
No, this is a PBA weekend.
They're at PBA?
Yeah.
Really?
What, you don't want to go to the #1 Christian band in history?
I got Maha.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
I'd rather go to
Am I
Maha.
supposed to say sorry? Or like, I'm sorry
I
that
don't know,
happened to you?
Hey, but you're not going to say sorry to me because the weather's going to be nice. It won't be a fat man's weight loss paradise.
Gotcha. Fair
There'll be
enough.
not much of a bunch of sweaty people hanging on each other. It's going to
Yeah.
be beautiful.
Hold on for dear life,
Yes. I'll tell the Pixies you said hello.
In the sprawling metropolis that is Loop City,
Indeed.
north of Grand Island by about 45 minutes. I was not old enough for this, but they tell tale, and it
Mhm.
gets passed down to the generations, that there was a guy who got inebriated, decided he didn't like the trees down O Street, which was the main drag. And
O
went,
Street notably as the same O Street in another famous Nebraska city.
more famous even. Grabbed the chainsaw and just went to town on every tree middle of the night and said, I don't like these, and they're gone.
I love that. That's beautiful. That's incredible. See, Gary, you try that.
Do you feel like you've been crimed off?
Yeah. We can keep criming you off if you want.
Yeah, keep criming me off.
Let's see. What other crimes do I have?
Joey?
So, I know.
I'm from Omaha. There's plenty of.
Oh, yeah,
things
we
going
got
on.
plenty of
Hey,
crime.
There's
we
plenty
got
of crime here.
real crime.
Real crime isn't fun though,
Like identity theft's
like-
not a joke.
Jim.
Well, so we did have a woman who
Nice, dude.
mistook some glue
Mm.
and for eye drops the
Oh,
other day.
no.
That was
yeah,
a great one.
No.
Great time.
Yeah.
That's not real, right? Like,
Oh, that was real. She
Yeah,
went to the
that was-
hospital.
yeah,
oh.
Let me.
How do you mistake that? Like, how do you get that wrong?
it was.
How
it hap-
blind
it-
can you be?
It happened late in the evening, so
Oh, you guys are
person might
making
have had a
excuses.
long
This is
day.
ridiculous. Why don't you just get to the truth?
She was just dumb.
no, she must have had a long day because it happened at like
Ooh.
7 at night.
Was she like Lamar Odom? Was she on crack?
Not sure. Maybe.
See,
Could be it.
Joey, you're being very,
I-
very kind to this person.
He's a journalist. He's trying to be kind.
I'm being fair. I'm being neutral.
Neutral to the woman who poured glue in her eyes.
Let me find the exact what
See,
happened.
your crime's not even good. This isn't even a crime. This is an injury.
But this
I
is
don't
like
think it's illegal to pour glue in your eyes, is it?
Not illegal, just
Yeah.
dumb.
this is
You could argue most crimes not. Some crime is dumb. Some crime's actually pretty smart.
Whole question.
okay.
Say like extortion's pretty difficult. You can't be dumb and do extortion. You can do extortion poorly.
Yes, that'd be the
That'd
best
be
way
the
to
dumb
describe
part, right?
Yeah.
it. Okay. So 37-year-old female put Gorilla Glue in her eye thinking it was
Oh.
eye drops.
The extra grip.
She has Gorilla Glue on her eyeball and eyelid. All right, Joey. Because Joey, like you give the
But
benefit of
that's
the doubt to
definitely not a
every human.
crime.
No, not a crime.
Yeah, what doesn't qualify?
Well,
Unless she stole the Gorilla Glue.
but I'm sure that they uncover some other things that lead to the crime.
She never had eye drops.
You're right. It technically is not a crime, but it was funny.
Yeah,
bet
you,
you don't have
got
that
me
in
there.
So Loop City and Sydney up on the crime off.
Both, by the way, at least when I was growing up, Raiders.
Oh wow, look at that. And Western Nebraska.
Technically Loop City because I've driven through there. I used to know somebody that lived in Taylor.
Yeah.
Taylor Burwell.
Taylor Martinez.
Taylor Burwell Sergeant, TBS. That was the Legion team.
Well, back in the day, they were a standalone. They were just Taylor. But
Taylor.
I briefly dated somebody who lived in Taylor,
Nice,
Uh-huh.
dude.
and I got a little concerned when we were driving to that part of Nebraska because there was nothing out there. But then
There's
once I
not.
got there, Taylor Burwell,
Mm.
beautiful, and
Very
the
big
people were
rodeo.
awesome. The big rodeo.
Oh yeah. Did you go up where?
Drove by Ord.
Yeah, Ord. So North Loop, Scotia. On the way up there, Arcadia, Air.
Dudes naming towns.
Dudes naming small towns.
Love that.
Um,
Give me an Albion in there.
That
A
well,
little further.
yeah,
out of the way.
Albion's going to be from Ord. That's going to be at least an hour.
Albion is straight up dead zone. Like not the people, but your phone. So you go up there, and if you die, no one will find you. So you're supposed to call? No one.
Well, Ghostbusters is the answer to that.
think
Well,
I'd be
but you
working
can't
with the
call the
Convention and
Ghostbusters in
Visitors
Albion.
Bureau
No
of that
service.
town.
No service out there.
Nick said we've got our
Nick?
good crime, which it does not involve death,
Good crime.
is the tiger lady at the zoo
Ooh,
that hopped into the cage
nice.
and got
Yeah.
bit.
That is.
I
that
don't
is
think
good
you can
crime.
top that in Loop City or Sydney.
Well, have you ever been to the Sydney Zoo? Clearly not.
Well, Loop City
That's
did.
actually it's just a trailer park out there.
No, Loop City used to have an actual zoo,
That's insane. Tiger King?
Jenner's Park,
Oh,
and there was still, at least when I was going through high school.
What, people bring their own?
No, it was these guys that like it would people would come in from not just across the state, but like across the country for the opening of this park every year.
That's incredible.
For the zoo that they had in Loop City. It's got a historical marker there and everything. It's wild. But at least when I was
What were
going,
the animals that were at this zoo?
there was a bear, there was a lion.
Oh my.
Yeah, there were several
Like
animals.
together, separate.
The cages, they have renovated that park since I graduated high school. But when we first moved there in the late 90s, you could still go and like all of the cages were still there, or a lot of them. There's only a couple left now because of the renovations they've done to that park in that area.
That sounds like where crime would happen, though. Is at the abandoned zoo?
That's where you went. You went to Jenner's Park, right next to the pool. But when I was going through high school, there was still somebody outside of town that had a lion. You could hear it.
That's awesome.
We would be having football practice, and you could hear the lion.
And you guys chose Raiders as your name? That's
the
crazy.
Red Raiders, yeah.
Red
That has
Raiders.
changed now since they.
What's Arcadia Loop City?
They are the Rebels.
I hate that. Should kept Raiders.
And it looks like the Texas Tech Red Raider.
Oh, so they just kept the Red Raider.
Yeah, it's still kind of a Red Raider. But yeah, the story tells that somebody reached their arm to the lion. Lady got her arm ripped off.
Ugh, hate that. That's no good.
That's just a natural reaction when you see a tiger or lion, is you want to pet it.
Also not illegal, I guess, if we're trying to find
Yeah,
crime,
that's true.
not crime.
Well, it could be trespassing technically.
I think it is trespassing.
Are you invading the lion's personal space?
To reach across is trespassing.
Like if a lion comes into your house, isn't that trespassing?
Oh, the lion doesn't have rights, not like us.
I will
Come on,
stand.
Gary.
I will stand my ground against that lion. I'll let you know now.
What's the largest animal you think you could beat in a fight? Could you take a lion? A small lion?
Do I have weapons?
No,
it's hand
bare
to
hands.
hand.
Yeah, it's hand to hand. Yeah, bare hands.
Pygmy elephant.
Wow, that was right on cue.
That's about the best I can do. I'm going to need something cuddly.
Yeah,
something small. It cannot be bigger than a human. I also don't think I would be good in a fight against another man.
Gary, you're in fighting shape.
Hold on, I'm looking up this elephant.
Gary, if I gave you a pickleball paddle, would you be able to handle yourself against a pygmy elephant?
Those are flint. Like, dude, that's going to get snapped in half so quick.
No, I have no desire.
I know I could beat up an ostrich.
Zero chance.
No, I
Zero
100% could.
You are getting run.
No.
There's something about
I'm built
sitting
different.
over there during the crossovers, the
built
confidence that flows out of those two microphones.
No.
There is no way you could beat up an ostrich.
You guys are crazy. You don't think I could take an ostrich?
Do you know how big an ostrich is?
Yeah, I know how big an ostrich is. I also know how dumb they are. I could take it. I'm superior in intellect. I'm also an athlete.
An ostrich is hitting its head in here.
That's fine. It's going to dig its hand in the sand when it sees me coming around the corner. I can take an ostrich. I know
it will
that.
scratch your face off.
Can't catch me.
Do you know how fast an ostrich can run?
Do you know how agile I am? Look at me. Does this
irrational confidence?
Does this look like a body that could be taken down by a big bird? Come on.
There's no reason right now you should have more confidence in this than Ja'Cory Barney has that he's going to lead the nation in punt returns.
Listen,
okay, I believe him way more than I believe you.
Joey, poll question. I want to know who has more confidence, Ja'Cory Barney or me. I think it's me. Actually, do I need Mike Eckler to coach me up on how to beat an ostrich?
I would take Mike Eckler against an ostrich.
I would take Mike Eckler versus many animals. That guy's certified loony. He's got some demons. I think he's got to fight an animal like once a month or something like that to like take down.
Probably in the history of Nebraska football, I think Coach Osborne would be the guy you would not want to. Like, he was able to take down Ralphie.
That is true.
Oh,
Mental war games.
Show him the finger,
Bang.
and Ralphie.
That is true. You kind of forget about that. Great photo, by the way. Fantastic photo. We need more iconic photos like that. My problem right now is we see too often. You know that Matt Rule photo that comes up after the Colorado win where it makes it look like he's like disgusted and like sad and he's really worried about his place in the world. But it was after the Colorado win, right? He's like looking off to the side. We need to delete that from the internet. We need like a Matt Rule iconic photo to come out. I don't know if he needs to like
him sitting on a bull.
That's true. We do have that. I forgot about that one. No, I'm talking about like not something that's like set up, like the Ralphie one, right? Like T.O. was walking on the field and pointed Ralphie a different direction. Like Matt Rule staged the bull. The bull didn't enter into the weight room, and he was like, "I'm going to sit on that thing." Like that's not what he did.
It'd be a better story if a bull got loose and it wandered into the weight room.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was looking for the sauna. That's what I was looking for.
Why do I think that will be revisited during the season?
The sauna or the bull?
The bull.
Probably because it could be a huge distraction.
What
Potentially.
if the bull was the leader of the tunnel walk?
With Terrence Crawford?
But as soon as you do that, you are giving Colorado vibes.
Maybe more Texas vibes.
Texas,
Debo does
whatever.
not leave
Yeah,
Texas
whatever.
on the
Yeah.
field.
Yeah.
But also, Indiana has already gone back and they're like, hey, by the way, we're also the Bison or the Buffaloes
that
or
was
whatever.
crazy. That's not what a Hoosier is. I don't know even where that came from. They just wanted to bring an animal on, right? You got to have a mascot of some sort because they didn't have like the guy in a suit on the sidelines before.
No, they didn't.
See, you got to have that. You got to have a guy in the suit on the sidelines if you want to be a consistent winning program. That and you got to take Virginia off your schedule.
So
those
if
are
you're
the two keys to success in Big Ten football.
if you're a Cornhusker, that means you automatically are also a rancher. You have a bull.
Not necessarily,
Or
right?
is this too much ag talk for Omaha?
Yeah, that is too much ag talk. This isn't KRVN.
Joey?
What are we talking about?
Jeez.
We get
I
ag
haven't been paying
reports here.
attention.
You have ag reports on this station?
No, not all.
Have
Yeah,
you not
on this
heard
station.
the elk butt grunt call?
No, trust me, I've heard the duck mating call as well a couple of times.
There's a lot of people around here that have a vested interest in ag.
Yeah.
We just don't do a regular egg report at noon like they used to do when I was growing up on WHO.
Maybe
They
I'll
would-
start that in the Happer
Wait,
show.
At WHO.
Did you work at W?
No.
Oh.
But growing up in Des Moines,
Okay.
that was the station.
I worked at WHO at one point.
Really? 1040.
Yes.
the World Health Organization?
The ag report's very serious. The big show, I think, is what it's called
yeah.
now in the middle of the day.
So the egg reports on WHO was a 50,000 watt blowtorch out of Des Moines.
Reagan worked there.
He did. Austin. Ronald Reagan. That was his station. So Rush Limbaugh would air from 11 to 2 live. But in Des Moines on WHO, one of the strongest signals going, because the egg report had to air at noon when all the farmers were, off for lunch
Yeah, doing their thing.
and they could listen. They didn't start it until 1.
Mhm.
Oh, I see.
Mhm.
Yeah. See, when I was at the old KRVN blowtorch back in Lexington, which I did, I guess I think they're celebrating their anniversary or something. I tweeted yesterday.
Yes.
I was like, if you hate my takes, you can blame KRVN. And most of the I got 3 texts from KRVN people being like, please don't lump us in with you. Okay.
we do
My
not want to
bad.
associate.
Said, my bad. But I used to run the auction time program back in the afternoon. That was a fun time because you'd have people call in trying to sell stuff and then telling you where the livestock reports were going and like where their different cattle sales and all that stuff.
I
were
did that
happening.
in Kearney on a station.
Oh, yeah. It's the best. That's where I learned how to pronounce Charlet. It was great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joey, you have an equivalent working in Omaha?
Yeah. Started out at college and I was in Iowa Western for a bit. That did not go too well.
That's an ag school, right?
Why did it not go so well at Iowa Western?
Just the pay was significantly low.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the curriculum. Was
Whoa,
tough.
Iowa Western paid you to go to school?
No. I was
Oh.
there. I was there for just like a few months for a football season.
Oh. On the team?
No.
Oh.
Just behind the scenes in the studio.
Gotcha. I thought you meant you were like paid to go to school there. That would have been
No.
so sick.
I did not go to school there. I attended UNO.
Big Mav.
Mav Radio alum.
That's
Yep,
right.
yep.
Huge Mav radio guy.
Garage Sale Radio used to be on
Ooh.
KLIN, where Caleb and I have
Mhm.
worked. It used to be Saturday mornings, and it was fantastic. Because you're right, people would call in selling their stuff,
Mhm.
and then the host would try and connect them with somebody in the listening audience.
We had Swap Shop in Sydney. That was the best. You'd call in every year. I'd call my parents' anniversary, and what was so funny is I always had the date wrong. So I'd call the day before, the day after, and I'd be like, "Yeah, missed it again. My bad." Or like, "Hey, I'm busy tomorrow." I'm like 9 years old. I'm using the old landline phone, trying to call into Swap Shop, get my parents a Dairy Queen birthday cake. Never
No, it
worked
was
out that way.
like that was peak radio.
It
By the way,
was.
that
Mhm.
was so much fun, and there were times you could gauge what people liked or what they were waiting for because you'd get to a portion of the show where I'm like, I've got 10 vouchers to Taco Bell, $10 each. It gets you $20 voucher. Phone lines
Yep.
lit up. They're like, you know what? I could double my money.
We when I was on the network, we would go and like to affiliates around the state, the Nebraska
Mhm.
sports network, And you'd go there, and we went to God. Where were we? I want to say it might have been McCook. And they're like, "Hey, do you want to sit in for an hour?" And I thought, okay, we're going to talk like Husker football, and
Yeah,
all
that
that
makes
kind of
sense.
stuff. The guy that was hosting had me read stuff, like basically do his
Yeah,
job.
right. He needed a break.
Um,
He knew radio guys were coming in. He was just trying to get off the air.
we were reading, and this was a common thing and very popular. He told me I was reading the lunch menu.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The local
See?
lunch menu.
Dang, we know it.
I was like, is this a joke? Because I thought it was being set up. Because we didn't do that at KLIN. I thought it was being set up.
We
Like
wouldn't
all
do
of a
that at
sudden,
KLIN.
I'm going to be reading the school's lunch menu on air. And he goes, no, we have to do it. It always is at this time of the morning.
Yep.
And people are going to be listening. And I was like, okay. So I, in my fashion, gave the lunch menu, added a little comedy to it. And he goes, that was great. And I go, you do that.
Did you get
every
a
day?"
job offer?
No.
Dang.
Because
It's not
then
been that good.
I turned it into stand-up comedy hour,
Nice.
and that did not go so well. But he said the lunch menu on this particular affiliate, he goes, one of the most popular things. He goes, it is appointment listening for parents and kids, so they know what they're going to have for lunch at school. And I'm like,
Mhm.
really?
Yep.
He's like, yep. And then he goes, hey, I don't mean to do this to you, but he goes, we enjoy this, and your voice is heard here on Sports Nightly. Then read the funeral announcements.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
You always had to get very serious with it too. Because you would get out of doing something, you'd be like, "Oh, we've got this great song playing, and we're going to get you to this." But now it's time for
But
funeral
they have it
announcements.
sponsored not by a funeral home. They have it sponsored by like a
Jimmy's
pharmacy.
Circus.
Yep.
And then they play this music. And
I love it.
for like 5 minutes, I was reading, like 3 people had passed away in the McCook area, and I'm reading the obituary on air. And I'm like, this isn't, we're not doing this. And again, the guy, and I forget his name, this was a while ago. He's like, those are people listen. He goes, those are the things we do. He goes, all service radio station. And I'm like, okay. All right. And then he went into the egg report, and he was just firing stuff off, and soybeans are this and corn is this.
Yeah,
and,
the way that
Yeah.
they can read those
and I
charts
was
and
like,
stuff is nuts.
okay.
Yeah,
All right.
they're good.
Did you do birthdays too?
No, he took care of the birthdays because that was his shtick. So he had
See,
I
I said
think it
that
was an
not tongue in
endorsement.
cheek. That's
Yeah.
a thing I know that happens.
I would like to know why his shtick was the birthday. Like he's the birthday guy.
Well,
He's
He's
the,
not the lunch
Okay,
menu's
no.
one thing.
So-
The funeral, like you can have that.
Hey,
but I'm
everyone
keeping the
has
birthdays.
their role here.
So the-
Everyone has their role.
So to be fair, he had lived in the McCook area for a long time, so he knew people. And
That
so I
makes
guess
it,
when
yeah.
he does the birthdays, he gives an anecdote about the person. Like I couldn't.
So he
say,
didn't know the
"Happy
people that died.
Ooh.
Well, I don't think.
we
like-
can't know everybody.
Well, but he was like funny guy with the birthdays. I don't think some people would enjoy it because it's a celebration of life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But like Maud passed away at 89. Okay. I'm not dropping in, hey, Maud, man, when she was back, or I don't know. But
She
he
was great, but she couldn't cook for
now
crap.
he might do that with the funerals. But he gave me the funerals. I
Yeah.
was in charge of the funerals and the lunch menu, and he took care of the fun stuff.
You think
The egg
people,
report and birthdays. But he was rattling off. And you know what? Jimmy is turning 17 today. And you know what? His dad, when he turned 17, and I'm like,
I know we're just getting out of the peak of like wedding season. Like we're still kind of in it, right? Like you got
Oh,
a couple,
yeah.
you got a couple weeks left.
I was in a wedding just last month.
See, but that was last month. Then that was in the thick of it.
Yesterday was last month. All right.
Indeed, indeed. And football season.
Yeah, football
We're
season in
officially
July.
football season. But do people power rank like how well a funeral went the same way they do weddings? Is that something that people go through? I haven't been to enough funerals in my life, but because I've been to many weddings where you like judge it on like the merits of other weddings you've been to. I've only been to like 3 significant funerals, and some of them I can say were significantly better than the rest. We had one time I was in North Platte. It was like my great grandpa, and he was 90 something years old, right? He was a railroad worker, and a guy came up. He had retired from the railroad. He didn't die working on the railroad. I should be clear about that. But a guy came up, and he was also of the same age, like mid-90s, and he was pounding his fist with what energy he had left, and he was like, I will always avenge you. Like, I will always do this. I was like, who? What are you talking about? Like, what? I was like 15, 16 years old. I was asking my mom, I was like, who is this guy? Like, does he think that someone got great grandpa Dale or what happened? Like
Somebody got him.
I was like, what got him was Father Time. That's what happened. Like, who who are you angry at? What's going on? And I understand it's a
I
funeral.
will fight the universe.
Angry
Yeah.
at nature.
That's what I was trying to like figure out, like what he was upset for.
Angry at the earth.
I wasn't in journalism mode at the time. I still at the time I was like, I'm gonna be a PT. Nah, can't study.
It depends on the age and maybe how.
Not all funerals are created equal. That's for sure.
I've been to some very, very sad funerals, but I've also been to only a couple, and I don't like death, so I avoid funerals at all costs. One not too long ago that I did attend was basically a celebration of life.
Yeah.
And so it was like they had made it known that they wanted their funeral to be a party.
Mhm.
And so they wanted people to come up and not
Yeah.
do like eulogies, but tell funny stories.
Mm.
Yeah.
On there, they kind of had like an open mic, and I could tell
Turned
that-
into a roast.
a little bit, but I could tell that there were some people that were very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they were like, I don't know that you should be laughing and telling these kind of inside joke stories of this person who their ashes are right next to you in a vase.
Yeah, that can
Mhm.
be a little tricky.
Yeah. But it was the only one that I've been to that I was surprised there was not like a band that came down the aisle of the church.
Mhm.
But it was, you like that's how that person lived. But I will be going to a funeral on Monday, and it will not be that way.
Yeah.
So I don't power rank.
You don't power rank them. Okay,
No.
fair.
No.
I've never even thought about power ranking funerals. Like
But
I can tell you,
This is
But you can power rank anything, right? Like, truthfully, you can power rank streets you've driven on in your life. You can power rank, trees you've climbed when you were a kid. I don't think we
But
should
I
segregate
imagine
funerals out of that.
you judge weddings by the reception.
No, I'm a big ceremony guy. Just recently, I changed that tune because I went to a ceremony where it was very different than the vibe I expected it to be. People were closing their eyes, swaying, and singing. I was like, ooh, I don't know about this.
what's your ideal time on the wedding?
Ooh, ideal ceremony start time is 2 p.m. indoors.
And
Gotta
then
get inside. I'm not doing anything outside.
length of wedding.
Maximum ceremony, we got to hit 45 minutes.
45?
Max 45. Minimum 10. Because if we're going in and out, you're just gonna do a vow. What did I dress up for? I should have worn golf shorts and gotten out of there.
So my ceremony, which was officiated by Jack Mitchell,
Nice.
was like 15, 20 minutes maybe.
Perfect.
That
Ideal.
my cousins just last month was like 20 minutes.
Yeah. I want to hear. I want to
it's
hear some good stuff.
phenomenal.
Catholic weddings used to be long, have gotten shorter, depending on if they do communion.
But
or
see,
not.
that's the thing is they're a big 45 now. That's why I peak it at 45. Because if you go Catholic and it's 45 over, I'm out.
I
Well, it
still
all
have to. It
depends on-
doesn't matter if it's 45 or over. I have to stretch before I go to a Catholic wedding.
Mm.
No, that we've changed. We used to have long weddings, but if you have communion, it'll take a little bit longer.
That is fair. It's a good point.
Weddings and funerals are both long.
Yeah.
I've been through several.
You've been through several funerals?
Yes.
How many times have you been married?
Good
No,
one.
family.
You've married your family?
No,
Oh, okay.
I've been to family weddings and
I
a couple
don't think
funerals.
you put a clock on a funeral, though.
There is a time everyone looks at their watch, though, right? Like,
That's-
how many
that's-
more
that's
are we
this
going
guy.
to do?
Mm.
You're
I-
always peeking at
I'm
it.
not
That
clock
might be
watching a
peak.
funeral.
That might be
that's,
peak rudeness.
That's
That-
disrespectful.
That actually would be, yeah. It's not an airport line, right?
No.
You're not like trying to get
Okay.
out of there.
Like now, I do
We could probably
want to
get
get
through TSA a
to
few times.
the pulled pork. Like I do. Like we do want to
Oh,
get to the
You're lucky to get to
the reception portion of it, but I'm not sitting there while they're being eulogized or there's songs going on or they're like, hey, I want you to I really wanted people to listen to this song while they thought about me in the church.
Yeah, fair.
We're not clock watching there, baby.
You ever thought about like do you have like a funeral song you want played? I have it. I've told all my friends. I've yet to tell my parents though. They're gonna be shocked.
Great Friday topic.
Yeah, they're gonna be
Ugh.
shocked when they find
But
out.
have a great day.
All
I
right,
know.
what is the
So,
song you want that's going to be
I
played
want
at your wedding?
RGF Island by Fetty Wap as my casket lowers, and I don't want them to tell a single person from my family. I've only told friends. I think it'll be a great way to go down.
Okay.
It's a song about learning how to save your money, and that you not save your money. You want to spend your money while you're here, and you want to celebrate with your friends, in shorter terms. But yes, that's my going away song.
I hope that is a long time from now.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm out of this
Either way,
conversation.
it'd be
No.
great.
I don't like talking about death. I'm out of this conversation.
Okay, fair. Good talk. What do you want to pivot to then? Do you have something else in mind? My bad. I shouldn't have brought up power ranking funerals.
This is the
Sorry.
Circle of Life crossover.
This is.
Yeah.
You want to play the song?
The circle of life.
See, again, you can power rank anything. I can power rank the best Disney composers, the best Disney movie singers.
Can you power rank?
Number one's Phil Collins. Easy. 2 would be Elton John.
Power rank Netflix original movies.
Oh,
See, I knew this
That's a
is
good
how
one.
we started the week with Caleb.
big movie guy?
No, one
Uh,
particular Netflix
Big,
special.
big movie guy
Was that the
right now.
Ooh, big movie. Oh, yeah, this is movie watching season indeed. I'm right there with you.
All right. What's the what's your favorite
Netflix
thing on Netflix
original.
right now? On the their
Oh,
movies
right now?
Yeah.
Ugh, I've been on the Disney Plus train right now currently. Netflix.
Well, yeah, you
original
got to get
movies.
through all the Star Wars stuff on Disney
Yeah,
Plus.
that's true. Let's see. Man, the worse it is, actually, the more I enjoy it. So we're gonna go like Extraction with Chris Hemsworth at the
Okay.
top.
That's
Terrible start.
very bad.
Yeah, but I love it the more the worse it gets, right? Let's see. I'm gonna go Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston's. What is that called? They had they're like on a boat or something like that, like murder mystery.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that one. And then we'll go Untold and the Manti Te'o documentary.
Okay.
Those are my top three.
What? Any movies this summer?
This summer on Netflix?
Yeah.
Oh no, I've been out of it. I watched the Titan documentary. That was the only thing I got on there.
K-pop Demon Hunters.
Ooh, I have heard good things.
Very good things. We
See,
can't turn
have
it off.
But I don't have a kid, so it's
You
it's
you
tough
don't
for me
need a
to-
kid.
You're right. I don't.
You don't need a kid.
You're right. Words to live by.
you don't need
She's
them
not
kids.
listening.
I'm gonna tattoo that on my forehead.
Don't need
People
a
will
kid.
take me more seriously if I have that.
No, it's very enjoyable. The songs are moving up the real world charts.
Whoa.
Yeah,
New world.
Good,
Like Moana.
better than Moana. Better than Moana.
I respect that. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
No, it's very good, and I have not watched yet the new Billy. Or I was about to say Billy Madison. We need a Billy Madison.
Billy Madison too.
Yeah,
Same kind of
Happy Gilmore.
storyline.
Happy Gilmore too.
If you are sharing, so I'm guilty of this, and it happened yesterday. If you are sharing Netflix accounts, they are doing a big sweep in the last 24 hours of knocking people off.
Speaking of illegal,
Boo.
Yeah,
How is that
is that a crime?
that's-
It's probably in their terms.
Who doesn't?
It's
terms
technically-
and services.
It's technically probably a stolen identity, right? Because you're impersonating another person's account, something along those lines. If you don't have like a written agreement,
I'm pretty sure it's in their terms of service that you can't be password sharing.
that would be incredible if you got arrested for using Netflix passwords, sharing accounts. I would love that. I would love to see my neighbors like
Netflix
swatted
police
for
show up
that.
at your door, just like the Napster police.
Yeah,
That's
see,
a
now you're in.
now as we're ranking crimes in towns, to me, that's a very Millard crime.
Yeah, that sounds
Password
about right.
sharing.
Yeah, that's a West Coast crime.
That's a very
crime.
Millard crime.
Anyone who lives by Zarinsky Lake, that's 100% what they would have going down.
It took all week, but I finally broken Gary away from the mic.
It's all right, Gary.
Netflix password stealing or sharing is a Millard crime.
It's
You-
a very
I mean, you-
All right, let's play this
You
game.
can,
Very
see, you
on
can see that
brand.
headline on KETV. Newswatch 7. Breaking in. We've got right out of the heart of Millard. 3 neighborhood homes have been broken into, swatted for their use of Netflix passwords. Coming up more at 5.
Gretna, what would be the crime that would be perfect for Gretna?
Ooh, Gretna
Ooh.
crime. Sorry.
That feels
prob-
like embezzlement. Feels like where I'm going with Brett.
I was going to say
something financial for sure.
I shouldn't
So
no,
along the
no.
lines of a white collar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably saying you like go to a school but live in a different town, something like that. The worst thing you could do.
That doesn't matter where you're at. Live in this town.
That's why you had to get just outside of the Omaha city limits.
Let's see.
Colin writes in because you're filling in for Connor today, and you've got this irrational confidence.
I do.
Can you fly a plane?
Like currently right now?
Yeah, this is Colin asking this. From White Plains.
I can't, but in an emergency situation, I bet I could land it.
Okay. You're on brand here. Can you kick a 40-yard field goal?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Nope.
All right. You are,
I'm
you are
too
not
I'm too
Connor.
fearful of a fractured femur to do that. I'm afraid I would plant too hard and I would snap it in half.
What are your bones brittle?
No, I'm too strong. My muscles just too much
You
on the
might
bone.
pop an Achilles.
That's my dad's rational fear right now. He's been trying to train for an Ironman, and he claims he tore his Achilles, but there's no way he didn't. Like he's still walking around. He went on a run yesterday. He's like, "Nah, it's torn." No, it's not. There's a 0% chance that it's torn if you ran any distance.
True.
Yesterday.
Well, unless he was on Nebraska's new grass, then
That is true. It's claimed his 50th knee this week. By the way, that was just a insane timing too.
yeah, immediately after having the talk about
Mhm.
the number of injuries. Yeah.
Just pretty much a calendar week later that would have occurred, right? Something along those lines.
Mhm.
R.I.P.
So
Mac
we'll
Markway.
show up. You'll see on the Big Ten Network today. They've already plowed up the grass fields.
Yeah. You hate to see it.
Yeah.
Do you want to power rank your favorite ACL injuries?
Well, you got the
Not
alphabet.
favorites, but yeah.
I mean, what would you rather have? Like the ACL, MCL, PCL?
Ooh. Don't forget the LCL. There's 4
And the
in there.
LCL.
Yeah. PCL sounds the worst. ACL is the most common. MCL is the one that fans will look at and say, "You get back out there. You're fine."
Yes.
Mhm.
I would say that the ACL would be at the top of the list.
You go ACL, MCL, PCL.
Yes.
Okay.
Cool.
No comments.
Life power rank. I love this.
Yeah. See, we'll come up with more. We'll be good.
Power rank the Creed songs that you're going to hear.
Ooh, perfect. One's going to be higher. I'm going to go to a different plane of
Okay.
existence during that. It'll probably be because of the 17 to 38 beers I'll be having in my system at that time. Arms wide open. I plan on holding a stranger. So if anyone around me will be with me at that time.
Particularly if they are a CEO of a business like Astronomer.
Yes. Perfect. Well, in this situation, I hope to be the CEO.
Oh, okay.
I'm-
You don't want to be
I'm
held.
looking for my head of HR is what I'm looking for.
And the third song,
I need that to go on like your Hinge profile. Looking for my head of
I'm
HR.
looking for my head of
That'll
HR.
be the Omaha crime.
no strings attached.
No, that's Gretna for sure. Or not Gretna. No, we already did Gretna.
Yeah.
That's Elkhorn.
That is a great Elkhorn crime to be found with your head of HR.
Caught in the act.
My third one, I'm going to leave open. I'm leaving that slot open because I want to be surprised.
No expectations once you get past the first two.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Same with Nebraska running back.
Bang. Look at that.
Caleb, keeping it on brand here. Have
Trying to.
Have you already
Stick to sports.
studied the set list for
No,
Creed?
I hate when people do that. I think that's like the
Yeah, you
worst.
can Google the set list and you'll see what to expect.
Yeah, and I don't unless I'm trying to like clock watch the concert and get out of there. Like I'm not going to do that because I know their best songs are going to be at the end. I know that they're going to play a lot of filler in the middle, and they're going to start with a banger.
Mhm.
You got Daughtry to start. He's got tattooed up arms. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a good time.
Well, do you even need to search the set list if you know it's going to be pretty much banger, banger, banger?
Right, exactly.
Like I didn't look up the set list when I watched Nickelback at PBA. You knew you were
That
getting
was a great
you
concert.
were going to get 2 hours of bangers.
Yep.
All
The
right.
worst part about that concert was that it was on
Speaking
a
of which,
Tuesday.
they are performing in Canton at the Pro Football Hall of Fame Stadium.
Nickelback
Yeah,
is.
I looked it up
Mm.
today.
Induct them.
I'm actually opposed.
Now.
I'm opposed to Canadian. We can't have them infiltrating our American sports profiles.
Joey? Yeah, no response?
No.
What? No. So when I went to the Taylor Swift concert, I looked up her set list.
Well, that makes sense for
Because-
you.
Yeah, I mean, she played 44 songs that
Yeah.
night. Some of them I just wanted, because here's what I did. Am very familiar with her music,
Mhm.
but I don't listen to it all the time.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to listen to a good majority of it, so at least I knew what I was going to
Yeah.
hear.
You look like a shake it off kind of guy.
Yes. Morgan Wallen, by the way. So people have done this with his set list because on the second night, he will change a song or two.
Ooh.
And so it determines if he thinks your venue is good enough. Like if he mixes up
Oh.
the songs.
Well, someone as pretentious as him, he gets to do whatever he wants, right?
I will back him up for this. And I know,
Be careful here, Gary.
I know. So he almost shut it down in Phoenix 2 weeks ago because his runway, he walks, on top of the fans. That's where you saw the Miranda Lambert. She was on the same stage, and
Mhm.
Miranda Lambert, all of a sudden, her booty is popular, which I never knew. If why would you wear a skirt that short if you're gonna walk people are down in the pit.
It's got to be some forethought.
All right. But he was like signing autographs.
Mhm.
Like he was walking and people were throwing him up stuff and he would sign it, or, they'd throw, like, now, if you guys have been to a concert recently, people will just throw their phone
Yes.
Yeah.
up to an artist and then they will take a picture and then throw
Yeah.
it back to him.
That's so stupid, by the
So
way.
he reached down
I love it.
to grab like a hat to sign, and this person tried to pull him into the crowd.
Oh.
And he went off. And so people thought that he was not going to come back for the second night in Phoenix.
That's
But
what you get for
he
dealing with
said,
Arizona.
he said on a podcast, he goes, "We like to change up the second night. Like we might add a song or two." He goes, "Depending on if we had a great first night or not, and we
Mm.
like the venue and we like the crowd."
Now,
But I imagine if you're Creed, your set list has been the same for many years.
now, if you're a Creed, everyone's going to be wanting to get to bed at a certain time too, because that
Well-
age demographic's going to be little older than I.
You're also been around for long enough. If you don't play the songs that people associate with Creed, like all of a sudden you come in, you start playing a bunch of new stuff, like promoting your new album,
Yeah.
and you don't play the old stuff, you'll be ticked off.
Yeah. I mean, that was the Nickelback concert.
Yeah.
They played San Quentin and they were like, nothing more. No new music. That's it.
Oh,
Yeah, if they didn't play Far Away within like the first
I
five
cried during
songs,
that song.
so
It
good.
was the best.
Animals.
Animals was great. I didn't cry during that.
I cried during.
I didn't relate
Animals.
as hard
I
to
didn't.
animals. I've never been caught by my significant other's father, but teach their own. Didn't relate to me. Gary, do you have a story you want to share?
No.
You're Googling something. I didn't
no,
know if
I'm
you were
just
trying
reading. John would like to know if
Hey, John.
if you could beat up an ostrich. So Austin could beat up an ostrich, but would break his leg kicking a field goal. Got it.
to. Yeah. At least, just trying to be aware of my surroundings. That's all. Don't have to kick an ostrich. Submit them. Put them in an armbar. Do my thing.
I don't know how we'd arrange this, but I would like to see this now.
Do it for charity.
You know what? There's that stretch on Highway 6 from the outlet malls towards Ashland.
Mhm.
There's a couple of ostrich farms that are along there.
Okay.
Mm.
All right.
Guy that used to run the Pinnacle Sports Network, Paul Aaron. He like had an ostrich farm, and he would take the eggs and then he would sell them.
Hmm.
All right, if you're confident enough that you can beat an ostrich, where's the limit on the number of ostriches? that
Oh,
you
just
feel-
one. I'm
Just
not.
one?
I'm not taking out two.
Whole
Yeah.
question.
I don't want to take on two ostriches. So I did the AI overview of if I could beat up an ostrich. They have powerful kicks, sharp claws, lethal potential, and size and strength. They do weigh over 300 pounds. That's insane.
Yeah, I'm
I'm-
telling you, you
I'm still
have zero
confident.
chance.
I'm still confident.
Zero chance.
Mm-mm. This doesn't look like a 0 chance probability. Looks like I'm a human weapon, so I'm ready to take this thing on. I think I can handle this. Truthfully,
You don't need a weapon. You are the weapon.
I am a human weapon. I am. That's what Gary said the first time he saw me. He's like, "Oh, look at that guy, human weapon." Am I wrong?
No, that's exactly what I said. But it wasn't pertaining to an ostrich. But good luck.
Which, by the way, happy 1 year anniversary. This is the first time I actually did a crossover
Yes.
with you a year ago.
Yes.
Look at that. Big 1620, the Zone Boys.
Good. Happy August.
Have a good weekend. Stay out
yeah,
of trouble.
you too. Enjoy your Maha or whatever you're going to get, whatever you're doing.
Can't believe you're not into Maha.
No,
That-
sounds like a disease. That's why I said I was sorry you had it.
No, there are artists that I would, think you as an independent guy would like some independent music.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about ostriches. I'm gonna kill them. That's what's
That's
on my
fair.
mind. Yeah.
That's fair. All right. Have a good weekend. Have a good show.
Yes, crossover powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha, everlevelconcrete.com. Don't have my glasses on, that's why I had to squint. My bad. Connor Happer Show is up next. All right. Welcome back. Connor Happer Show. Long crossover. Happy to get that going. But we are all guests today on the Happer Show. No Oddson. No Joey. Well, no, Joey is here.
I'm here.
But no Happer. It's Austin instead. We are Gene jacking it up today on this beautiful Friday. I mean, who wouldn't want a better Friday to start? And guess what, Joey? Guess what?
What is up?
It is football season.
Finally.
Football season is
Finally.
here. Where were you when the 2025 football season officially kicked off? I'll tell you where I was. I was sitting at home watching the Hall of Fame game. How long did you plug in the Hall of Fame game, Joey?
Probably almost a half of the game.
Almost half? Okay.
Almost half of the game. Then I had to go to bed early because I get up
Right.
at 4:30 for the Zone's morning trap.
Yeah, you've been flexing that all day.
Yeah.
You've been doing your flex on that game. I like that. I respect that. Yeah, it's it was fun to get some football back, and we'll talk about this later as we set up the show. But we have maybe an actual conversation to talk about from the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah.
And I'm very much looking forward to seeing what other storylines might come out of some preseason if our preseason actually ends up being somewhat storyline driven like we saw last night.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. So let's get to our lineup today, powered by the Rooferys at John Higgins Weather Guard. So football is back. We'll touch a little bit on the Hall of Fame game because I know everyone is just itching to get their football back on. Say it with me, Joey.
Football is back.
Bang. I love that. Football. At 11, Brian Munson of Husker Online is going to join us on the show, talk a little recruiting news, and I'm curious to know his thoughts on what the priority for maybe a Dana Holgerson offense looks like and how that has adjusted over the past few months. Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7, joins us at 11:30. Then we'll get to your odd news with Odd Son and Joey.
It's just me, no Oddson.
That's right. No Odd Son. Just Joey.
He'll be back. next
Joey
week
son? Yeah, that sounds a little more samurai-ish.
with producer Joe.
Producer Joe.
Just
Do you like going producer Joe or Joey?
it doesn't matter.
Joey in the streets, producer Joe.
Joey in the streets. There you
in the
go.
sheets?
There you
No,
go.
Okay, all right. I want to have a little fun because it's Friday, right?
yeah.
We're both guesting it up this day.
Mhm.
We're gonna take a unique spin on the Big Ten and SEC because both conferences are always fighting. But I wanted to see if we could maybe break down and predict where the conferences are going to have the first of each and see if we can have some fun with that, right? We might talk some Heisman Trophy winner possibilities, maybe some college football playoff possibilities, but I don't know. We'll get to some fun stuff there at high noon. Steve Sipple of Husker Online and On 3 is going to join us to preview the Big Red preview happening on Saturday and some other football-related topics. Terry McLaurin is requested a trade from the Washington Still Commanders, by the way. And we'll see what else we get into. You mentioned it.
Something happened with Micah Parsons earlier this morning
Yep.
that we could dive into.
Micah Parsons getting in there too. Caleb had talked about it there on the crossover just a minute ago about Ja'Cory Barney's confidence in the punt return game. We're
Yeah,
going to ask some of our guests about that. But I'm very much looking forward to it. It feels like football season. And Joey, I know that this isn't necessarily your running horse, but I'm very excited because we're going to start having high school football practices starting next week.
Yes.
Football's officially back.
Yep. It's finally back.
So
Everything
back.
is going to get back into action.
All right. So you know what? I'm determining today is Power Rank Day because of our crossover. So Power Rank your favorite forms of football: professional, college, high school.
That's how I would rank it.
That's how you'd go?
Pro, college, and high school.
Big pro football guy, huh?
Yeah, big pro football guy.
All right.
Their system works perfectly. College football, it's always chaotic with the change in college football playoff formatting, and then the conferences battling it out, saying who's better than who.
Yeah.
And teams just leaving conferences, going to different ones just to try to get better chances on hoisting the trophy.
So you're a big college football traditionalist. That's where you want to be.
Yes, that's where I like.
Okay, fair. I'll always 100% to the end of time will put college football first. I love college football. It's my favorite. It's my number one. I can follow it. It's great. Professional football, this is going to be such a hot take. I know I'm unique on this. I might put pro football 3 until high school football season ends. Because obviously, I'm not going to keep watching the high school football season after that. But I love my job with Herd Out Sports, following stuff with NAB preps and that sort of stuff. We're going to be on the road doing a bunch of stuff for high school football coverage. and I love being able to get on a sideline, stand in, some of the heat of the late August games, and then the bitter cold of some of those semifinal playoff games. But I do understand professional football would probably be 2 for everyone. I'd probably put them pretty close together. High school football 2, professional football 3,
Yep.
but college football is always number 1.
Yep.
Love me some college football. There's nothing better than that. What else? Okay, so tell me about this Micah Parsons thing. Do you have this? You have this up? I'm actually curious. What?
No, just the contract talks is just going downhill right
so
now.
more far apart. I'm
Yeah.
sure our good friend Josh Peterson.
I'm sure he'll be happy to explain.
Yeah,
that
I'm sure
to you.
he'll be very excited to
very
explain this.
very excited.
The
indeed.
Cowboys would apparently prefer to talk to Parsons himself rather than his agent. That's a take. Let's let the non-professional, agent not handle the money side of the negotiations. Wouldn't you argue that's exactly why you hire an agent, though?
That's the whole reason.
Yeah.
They would help take care of things. Then you kind of get an insight. You tell them what you want, and then they take care of that while you work on your craft.
Ooh, an undisclosed Cowboy from the team said, quote, "This is getting messy," end quote. Ooh. How do you get that quote? Where do you go? Do you go in the locker room at training camp? You ask for that?
You probably go to the practices, and you're just you're hanging around on the sideline.
You're next to Dak Prescott,
Yeah,
the
sitting next
undisclosed Cowboy. That's fantastic. Honest, that could be my nickname today with this getup. You like this getup today? I could be the undisclosed Cowboy.
Yeah, it's a good.
Hokey
look.
Skur 19. Joey, did you do to Odson what M did to Dr. Dre?
Ooh.
Put him on a milk carton?
Who knows? He'll be back Monday.
We'll see. We'll see who's back Monday, right? Great stuff already. Make sure you're hitting us up in the chat. Zone, what is it? ZoneTV.live?
Yep, Zone TV.
Zone TV. Okay, Zone TV on the YouTube. You can also check it out on Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, now X, on the stream there. You can also hit us up, 1620zone.com if you're listening on the mobile app, all that good stuff too. Joey, this is a reunion of sorts for us because our last Blue Jay shoot around was what, end of March?
Yeah, it was Sweet 16 or
no, it was
round of 32.
round of
Yeah.
32. Yeah, I believe
It's a long time ago.
It was.
Now this is a dry run for Blue Jay shoot around.
That's
for the
right.
next
People
season.
forget. You ready for Middle Tennessee Tech?
Yes.
Is that what it is? Who's that first game? I should know
we could
this.
look at the break.
You're right. Oh, is this you telling me we got to get to Brian Munson here coming up in just a second?
I'm indicating.
Okay. All right. We'll take a break because Joey wants us to. But that is your rundown for today, powered by the Rooferys at John Higgins Weather Guard. We will have Brian Munson of Husker Online coming up after the break right here on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Brian Munson.
Hey, long call. Comfy left Zoom Buster. 63 Bang Z Maui. Alert. Paradise Z Burger Y Wrap on one.
Husker Online on the Connor Happer Show on 1620.
All right. Brian Munson, Husker Online, joins us here on the Connor Happer Show. Austin in for Hap. Brian, how are we doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Doing great. Hey, good to talk with you again. I get no UNK fix from you anymore, which I'm pretty disappointed in, but that's fine. I'm over it. It's fine.
Well, we can switch over to Eastern Michigan. You need to become an Ypsilanti fan.
Okay, all right, I'm in. Let's get some Eastern Michigan talk in there. What's insight you've got for me? What is Eastern Michigan? What are they? Are they a bird of some sort? What are they, Joey? Do you know off the top of your head?
They are birds.
Eagles.
They're the Eagles.
Okay,
and there is a tremendous. So for folks out there in Twitter land, they need to go back and look up some stuff I retweeted a couple days back because it is the most hilarious YouTube comment I've ever read in all my life, and it was all about basically SEC fans. Oh, you're so lucky, $100 million facilities and whatever. And he says, here we are playing on a Tuesday night in a blizzard, 14 fans and a raccoon in the stands. It's so wonderful to read it and just laugh. And then somebody actually created a T-shirt. So I actually had to go out there and break down and bought 4 T-shirts, a coffee mug, and a sticker.
Wow.
So, yeah, dude, I don't think I've laughed that hard at a YouTube comment before, so I had to pay it some homage, and if the cartoonist is going to get any of that money, I hope that they do, because that was it was very well done. It was very well done. So they are the Eagles.
Okay. I was going to ask because they should do the emu. That would fit with the acronym. You wouldn't have to change too much.
Oh my gosh, you're right. That would have been wonderful. The Fighting Emus from Ypsilanti.
Another bird I could beat up, Joey. By the way.
Yeah, the first one was the ostrich.
I've gotten bitten by an ostrich. That's not a fun thing. That is not a fun thing.
All right.
I went to the state fair down here in Texas. And all the kids were at the petting barn, and they were all feeding the animals that were much lower to the ground. Like, here's this ostrich, that's standing like 7 foot tall or higher, and he can't get down and get any of the food. I'm like, I feel bad for this guy. So I go over and get a quarter's worth of plastic, food, the food in the little plastic bowl, and I hold it up over these kids, thinking I'm doing this thing, and this ostrich walks over, and then he just smacks down hard on my hand. I didn't know if I had a thumb left. I didn't know. He got the plastic bowl, he got the food, he got my hand, he got everything. So fortunately to walk out with all the digits. But that's always been a funny story to tell people.
That is incredible. I mean, that's the best thing we're going to hear from you today, unfortunately. Like, I don't know if any question I ask you could live up to the story of the ostrich taking your hand off.
Bitten by an ostrich.
Yeah. So you've dealt with an ostrich in person. I said earlier in the crossover I could beat up an ostrich. Do you trust my confidence, or do you think with your actual in-life experience I don't have a chance?
They are formidable. That's how I would describe the ostrich. I think that obviously you're going to have to go for the neck, but that is a formidable creature right there. That's how I would describe it. Very strong, lightning quick, So you're going to have to either get one that's a little inexperienced, or get one that doesn't know that the neck is the weakness. But yeah. I tell you what, I got clamped down on pretty good. Like I said, I thought the thumb was missing. So
okay. All right, so I'm going to ask you a question related to what you just said and related to your work, obviously, with Husker Online and Nebraska football.
Yep.
Who is the most formidable offensive lineman and ostrich-like lineman that we have seen for the Huskers so far? Are you leaning towards one of the newer faces on that group, or is there someone that has kind of made their way through the ranks that you feel like could have that standout spot on the O-line?
Ooh, that's a good one. I mean, obviously there's all this confusion of what's going on, like at the tackle position, and I it's hard for me to kind of not go Rocco here,
right?
Because I think what you're looking for from him is you're looking for some a formidable kind of guy that's been part of this long run with Notre Dame and has seen it on the successful side and needs people to kind of, he wants to show people the light, and he wants people to believe in Lincoln. And I think he's got he's a strong leader, and I think he's obviously got everything else kind of going on for him. So I think I'm going Rocco. I think Justin gets a shout out here. I think there's a bunch of other guys that are definitely in consideration, to get noticed. And one of my favorites, I think, is going to be honestly, you can't mention Rocco without mentioning this guy too, because he's his backup. But I think Gibson Pyle is the guy that finally starts to emerge out of that 2024 class. I think everybody's been kind of, talking Grant Bricks, and Bricks has got a future, and Preston Talmua, who's been, been sick and lost some weight, and, might be back in a little, a couple weeks or something like that. I think the guy that's been very consistent here, tested very well, and knows the offense, I think all the positions, is Gibson Pyle. And I think that's a guy that you could start watching to see when he starts working his way into some sort of a rotation, when it comes to this group this year.
So on that same sense, when it comes to the new trends in Husker recruitment, when it comes to the offensive linemen, it seems like since last year, they have been going after higher priority and higher target recruits. How has that trend continued as we see a couple of Nebraska and logos appearing in those top 10s and top 5s even this week?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, well, Nebraska obviously they've been looking for the secret sauce to get the real kind of NFL, prototypical bookend offensive tackle. And they just kind of struck out, when it's come to them kind of trying to get that guy, and then I think this year, that they've done a good job. They got in Puma, and I think in Puma is, he's got this crazy frame, and he's got this like real moldable kind of thing going on for him because he's not been playing the game all. And so I think when you take that kind of combination there, I think that you've got a real chance to kind of get a guy in there that you can kind of pull all together and kind of put the finishing touches on, and you could have a real talented offensive tackle, at some point here, down the line. But I think that what they've been doing is, like, to your point, they've been kind of targeting a little bit higher offensive tackle. They've been zeroing in on a guy a little bit sooner, like Mark Matthews, who was there, a couple of times, or actually in June, for the huddle orientation, and got connected with Trey Taylor while he was there, and now is mentioning coming back to Nebraska again for a return visit. I think that's fantastic. Obviously, Nebraska is very high on Kennedy Brown, who is literally the number one player in the country, not just Texas, not just his position, but the country when it comes to rivals and on three. So I think that they're doing a fantastic job. I think that all these things that Matt Rule and his staff have done to kind of pull extra players or give reasons for recruits to visit Nebraska, whether it's the huddle orientation or the battle of the boneyard or the summer camps or these extra, personal workouts that they've been scheduling with a few guys. They had a lot of talent come through Lincoln this summer. And I think that that's going to be really fun to kind of follow as a recurring theme. Because, like, when I posted, I think, my top 12 offensive guys in 3 and out, I think 10 of those guys have already been on campus. And I think that that's a huge advantage going into the fall when you start trying to get guys to come back for Akron or USC or Michigan or whatever. You want that to be their second or third visit, because you want to try to get them back maybe, at least once, if not twice in the fall. And then, you get your springtime, visit there, maybe a junior day, and then you start talking official visits. You want that to be like their 4th or 5th time in Lincoln when they come back for an official visit.
So kind of on that same sense, not necessarily just about offensive line, but I'm curious your thoughts, because we heard from Dana yesterday and how the offense, he's going to be given chances. He's kicking guys in the butt, doing what he needs to do to get guys going. He's not a part of really that recruitment, going out and getting after guys and trying to, do the communication himself. But is there a part of what Dana is looking for in offensive philosophy that Nebraska is recruiting like, or have you seen it stick closer to what we had seen the past couple of years with Rule and Satterfield and kind of where they were going just in general?
Well, I think that they did change things up. I think that they've gone after some really versatile, quick-twitched wide receivers. I think that you do need to have some balance in the room. You can't go entirely, the route of the 5'9" to the 6-footers. I mean, you do need to catch, a 6'5" guy. You need a Quinn Clark. You need a guy like that that's going to be in the room, because there are situations that are going to be necessary for him, down there in the red zone. And so I think that they've made some adjustments. I think that they've gone back and re-reviewed not just the offense. I want to say just being successful in the Big Ten in general. I think that they did a really interesting thing at the end of last season with all the turnover and all the other things that happened. I think Nebraska went back and they re-stood up their recruiting board. And I think it was based on, obviously, the change in the coordinators from during the season to the end of the season, so offense and defense. But I think it was also like, do we think the guys that are currently on our board, the guys that we had coming into Lincoln through the summer and the fall, can we win in the Big Ten with those guys? And I think that they went back and they identified and kept the guys on that they thought that could help them out. And I think they moved on from the other ones that they didn't feel like they could. And then I think that they re-stood up another board. And I think that I think you're building in Holgerson's vision, because I think we've seen it, that he can be successful. I think he's going to get the right people. And I think the right people are for the offense and for the conference.
Brian Munson of Husker Online joins us today on the Connor Happer Show. Austin in for Happer. Brian, obviously we heard that Mac Markway injury earlier this week.
Yeah.
We were told extended time from Rule. It's been reported by other outlets, so we've seen that it could be the season. Regardless of what the injury looks like, I think everyone kind of agrees that there was depth in that tight end room. But is there anything that adjusts how Nebraska will attack this? It's too early to even say offseason, but maybe this upcoming cycle of recruits, because they do have plenty of tight ends in the room, but they would still have plenty left over, even if one were to leave after the end of the season.
It's possible. I mean, they do have a commitment in the 2026 class. They've got their eyes on the number one tight end in the 2027 class. They got Ahmad Hudson, that they've already brought in a couple of times already, and he's obviously tied to Trey Taylor as well. So I think that they can probably absorb it, and there's really nothing you can do about the fall. I think the room, like you said, was deep. I think they can absorb that there. I think then that they go back, and then if you got Harvard and other things that are going to kind of turn over just because of eligibility, then you can kind of go back and figure out okay, we need to take more than one guy in the 2027 class. And they're in on several 2027 tight ends. So, I mean, I think that, and they actually were, I thought the tight end position might have been the strongest group that they had identified and were recruiting maybe in that February, March timeframe earlier this year before, everything just kind of zeroed in, maybe on a single guy or so. But Ahmad Hudson, Cooper Terwilliger is another guy that's obviously hearing a bunch from Nebraska. I think that they've got enough guys at the tight end position right now to where they can feel good about it with 2027, and you've got a lot of time to see what other guys kind of emerge around the country. And there should be some new offers, I'd say 2027 and 2028, maybe through the end of September. I would say that's going to be the busy time for new offers.
All right, Brian, let me get you out on this one. When it comes to the future looking recruitment classes, how many years can you look down the line with what's going on with the 26 cycle and how a lot of the in-state recruits are not, I don't want to say being ignored, but not being offered and just not receiving the interest from Nebraska like many people would like them to be? How many classes away is it that Nebraska can start to prioritize, or do you see it being a priority again that Nebraska goes after more of the talent within either Omaha or across the state?
I think Nebraska is going to recruit guys that can help them out, whether they're in-state or border guys or 500-mile radius guys or national guys. I don't feel like I feel like it's been a little bit overblown because the way that they had to stand things up again in January, February, I think that all those border guys kind of went away, and you lost this kind of identity of like that Nebraska fans have, that these are Midwest kids, Nebraska kids, whatever. You don't have really that right now going in the 2026 class, and you won't. You're not going to all of a sudden see some sort of an influx of neighboring states and in-state kids, joining the 2026 class. Jace Reynolds is not going to probably be. He's going to be the only kid from the in-state that's going to be part of that class, unless like a Sam Dolphins, the long snapper at Papio South gets an offer, right? So I think that everybody just have to just demonstrate their worth, go do what they can do. They got to get to camp. And I think that Nebraska is being incredibly fair. I don't think that anybody would like to be part of a situation where you get recruited because it's what Nebraska would have done before back in the day. And then all of a sudden, a year or two into your time in Lincoln, you guys are parting ways and it just ends badly.
Yeah.
I think it's better for everybody else in Nebraska is maybe being a little tougher with their upfront kind of analysis about who they're offering, because it's avoiding a really bad situation down the road.
All right. So I know I said that was the last question. I just want to follow up on that one. So do you get the sense, though, that Nebraska is doing its due diligence to not burn bridges, especially in Omaha? Because you mentioned there's, I believe Jace Reynolds is ninth on some of the recruiting boards in terms of in-state. So those 8 players in front of him, mostly from the Omaha area, is it a priority for Nebraska to reach out to those players? Do you have any idea if they at least communicate and say, hey, we know that there's probably some interest that you would love to be at Nebraska, but just where our program is, what does that communication look like if there is any?
I think that there could be. I mean, I think that there's several players on that list that they could feel like they could reach back out to in case there's a opening in the class that generates, like, says that there's a need. I think people need to remember here, I think that what dictates what's going on also is the 105 man roster and just the overall size of this class. I mean, you're maybe going to get to 15 or 16 players, and that's where it's just kind of cutting into those opportunities for those other guys. I think other schools, other programs have got an ability to go a little bit deeper, and they have other needs that Nebraska does not have, and it's just lining up better. But there could be some possibilities down the line. I don't know how open several of those players would be, though, after they've been on, in the boat for the team they've been committed to for months. I think that's going to be you're probably risking a pretty bad look, honestly, if you go back and try to re-recruit somewhere else down the line.
Yeah, fair. All right, Brian, appreciate your time as always. I'm sad I can't get my Loper talking with you, but we'll always talk emu anytime I come on, for sure.
That's right, man. All right, have a great weekend.
You too. That was Brian Munson, Husker Online, joining us here on the Connor Happer Show. Really interesting stuff there from Brian, and stuff that I've thought about for quite a while when it comes to especially Omaha recruitment. This will always be a conversation. It will never not be an in-state recruitment conversation, right? For as good as Nebraska football could be, for no matter where they could be 3-9, 9-3, 12-0, there will always be people in the state and inside of the borders of the metro that will say, well, they need to get back to recruiting X, Y, and Z.
Yep, absolutely. And you saw what Kansas did down at their new football stadium. They laid out the helmets for like the state championships.
Yeah.
So that kind of appeals for all of those who live in the great Jayhawk state.
And let's be honest too. Nebraska athletics treats its high schools very well. So for those that believe that there's some vendetta against them, if it's just this year's cycle, sure, it could be. But there have been some notable players that have contributed well from in-state players. Of course, that is always the case. They were on last year's roster. But there's always the other case too, where whatever it takes to win, and sometimes it's not going to be the easiest way to do it. That's why I was curious what Brian thought about some of those in-state conversations happening there. We'll pivot from one Brian to another, as we'll have Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7, coming up just here in a little bit on the Connor Happer Show. Thanks to everyone for joining us again on the stream. We got it all going up and running.
Yeah, it's working, it's cooperating with us, thankfully.
And also with Jimmy in chat, I know Jimmy showed up late to the party. Not upset with you, Jimmy. Not upset with you at all. I was just letting you know that if you're looking for Connor Happer, you would likely be disappointed to see my fresh head of hair on top of this, broadcast.
He'll be back Monday. He's just in Dubuque for the weekend.
Nice. Yeah. Everyone says you got to get to Dubuque.
Yeah,
It's the most relaxing place in America.
It's the halfway point for my travel to Green Bay. It's always a good sign.
Oh, always with it.
Always tie it
Joey.
back.
All right, that's producer Joey. He's in for producer Josh. I'm Austin in for Connor Happer. This is the Connor Happer Show in 1620 The Zone. Brian Christopherson's next.
Hey, Brian. Brian Christopherson.
I gotta take this. It's Hap.
B. Rye, B. Rooney, drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry.
Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7 on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Welcome back, Connor Happer Show, 1620 The Zone. I'm Austin. That is Joey hanging out with us today, as it's all guests, all hanging out and doing our thing. This just came across my radar from ESPN. They have the Nebraska Cornhuskers as the 30th best team to have odds to make the college football playoff. They have them at a 10% playoff rate in their model.
Well, it helps with the schedule.
It does.
They got
ESPN bet odds to win the national title is plus 15,000. And the college football playoff ranking history, Nebraska's made 8 appearances, and their highest was at number 10. And not too bad, I guess. But yeah, the ESPN analytics agree that Nebraska could be making another step towards the college football playoff test. And they do, as Joey had mentioned, have their toughest test November 22nd at Penn State. And I'll add that in as an no duh situation right there, because you could probably train half of college football fans to point at Nebraska's schedule and say, what's your toughest test? And my best guess is they would point to one specific game, but I'm always curious as to what the season schedule will look like come the end of the season, right?
Yeah.
Because you always view, and this is incredibly significant from what we saw last year with Indiana, because with Indiana, we saw right away that was going to be a team that was going to be much more difficult than what the original schedule lined up. People had Nebraska penciled in for a 6-1 start or 7-0 start going into that Indiana game. And they did that. They were there for it. And then Indiana just put the gas on them.
Did not go well for the Cornhuskers in that game.
Yeah, that was my Big Red Overreaction debut. That was a rough day.
Fun.
Rough day on BRO for me. We will get to Brian Christopherson here in just a minute. We have him at 11:30 coming up. But I'm curious his thoughts. It's going to be our leadoff question, talking about Ja'Cory Barney and the confidence in leading the nation in punt return. Because, Joey, I don't know if you know this, but kickoff and punt returns have not been of significant passion for Nebraska special teams over the past decade or so.
And I think Connor mentioned this yesterday. Nebraska tallied 73 yards in total for combined punt return yardage in the 2024 season.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been great for Nebraska recently.
Is it more realistic that Ja'Cory Barney has a 73-yard punt return in one return than it is that he gets to lead the nation?
It's possible.
I mean,
it's possible. I said we talked about this yesterday. It depends on how the defense performs and how the protection is for Nebraska's special teams.
Yeah, 100%. So excited to talk to BC here in just a little bit. Catching up on some other stuff too. I know it's a football month, football Friday, all that good stuff, but a lot of exciting things happening with Nebraska volleyball yesterday too. They had their first media open availability for practices and such. That was a lot of fun to be able to track and run down, watch some of that stuff too. A lot of my coworkers with Herd at Sports were posting some stuff from there too. So I was able to get a view inside of the program. That has to be one of the highest pressure-filled circumstances in Nebraska athletics, but they're not acting like it's a big deal at all. And kudos and credit to them for not having just the immense amount of pressure that could be coming with the expectation of a national championship. Now, you could argue Nebraska football may have the same type of issue coming up, because if you don't get it done this season, when will you ever get it done? But replacing a legend, doing all that great stuff with Nebraska volleyball, that to me will always be kind of the top part of it. So as Joey's kind of plugging in BC here again, we appreciate everybody in the stream. Got Mustache Adam chiming in. Yes, we do have Connor off to the annual hot sauce theft at the Des Moines Pancheros, of course. And Joey, we good? Got BC on the line? Okay. BC, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. How you guys doing?
Doing good, BC. Sorry, we got started a little bit earlier without you. It's always awkward to come out of a break. We play all this great Brian Christopherson clip and the intro leading in, and then we just got to kind of sit and talk before we can get you on the phone. So we appreciate your time.
That's okay. I was just coming out of Supercut, so it would have been awkward doing it while I was sitting in the chair. So this is good.
Would that have been the worst place to do a Connor Happer or any radio bit? Would the Supercut chair be the worst place to do a radio segment from?
One of them. I tried to do a segment during the Pinstripe Bowl with somebody while I was getting on a subway train, and we were going to see how long until it cut out. And it was good radio, I think, for about 40 seconds.
Oh, no.
and then it cut out. And I confirmed that to everybody that I was safe. So, but yeah, probably sitting in the chair getting a 1.5 on the sides, 3 up top would have been kind of awkward doing it there. But yeah. I don't know. It might have been interesting. Who knows?
Yeah, some momentary buzzing just going on in the background. You know, we just got to let people, again, know you're not getting a neck tattoo or anything like that. Just a haircut, just doing the normal. This just came across the radar. We talked about it a minute ago, but Nebraska football was ranked by the ESPN analytics with the 30th best odds to make the college football playoff. Do you agree that Nebraska is a top 30 team in the country?
Yeah, 30 seems about right. I think a lot of people have them sort of on a fringe top 25 basis, and so I guess if you're doing playoff odds, that would figure. I mean, maybe you would bump them up even a few spots than your normal ranking, just because I do think Nebraska has a map with their schedule that allows maybe better possibilities than some teams. But I think most Husker fans would be like, yeah, 30 is fine. I think we're to the point where Husker fans kind of like it right there until they really make a big move. It's like, don't put them up like where you're talking about them at like 16th or 17th or something until they go beat Michigan or something. So I'm guessing most people are all right with that.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. And I'm interested. It's a talking point of what felt like a lot last summer, that Nebraska was on that fringe of being a top 25 team. And I don't know if this is just the adjustment of the times and how people view the top 25 polls, especially at the beginning part of the season. But I'm a little surprised we haven't heard more about chatter with Nebraska being in that top 25. Maybe it's just how the sport has kind of adjusted, where really the only top ratings you need to be is in the top 12.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The rankings, when I was a youngster, I mean, that was such a big deal. Like, like where was Nebraska going to be, to top 10, whatever. And I think the AP poll and the coaches poll had a lot more oomph to it when it came out. There will be that day that it pops, and I'm not sure when it happens. There will be some excitement for like an hour about it. Like, oh, okay, Nebraska's in the others receiving votes 28th, something like that. But it'll disappear pretty quickly. I think you're onto it. It's all about that top 12 now, and polling. Although I will say this, it would be nice if Nebraska got back into being a regular in the top 25, where it's another content item on Sunday morning. Like, okay, they moved up to number 14 in the AP poll. People can argue about it for a little bit after church. That sort of thing would be okay. It would show her on the right track.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that you never want to be 15th in the AP poll, and then the first playoff ranking comes out and you're 22nd, because then everyone's fired up. Then you got to deal with that on the Sunday morning after church.
Yeah, that would be something to deal with, but I'll take that. I'll take that over what it has been. So let's get to that. That'd be all right.
BC for content. Who would have thought? We're always fans of content. Let's talk tight ends. Mac Markway, obviously the injury that came out there, all the stuff that you'd written coming out from Husker 24/7. What player in that tight end room has the biggest impact now from the injury? Is there one tight end that you're leaning on that you think Markway's ability and his role, where the offense was leaning towards, especially in the start of the season, there's going to be one person that has to pick it up? Or is it the generic answer saying, well, everyone's got to pick up the slack a little bit? Do you see one person or the group having to replace him?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't want to dodge it necessarily. I thought Dana Holgerson made a good point, though, because he was asked yesterday, like, okay, what's the impact of the injury? And everybody was, felt devastated for a kid getting a second straight ACL. I mean, that's really rough stuff. But Dana also gave a heartfelt answer, but also an honest answer about the football part of it. He's like, I don't know, because I've only seen him practice one time. I do think he tested really well and was going to be a big body that it certainly could help with your two tight end packages. And I think could have been a good weapon, but we didn't know yet exactly where he fit. There was a lot of optimism about it. So it's hard to answer. I think Lindenmeyer is the leader of that group. And I always say this because I think people overlook Lindenmeyer. I think he's one of the most top 5 most trusted guys about he's going to do his job and set a tone the way you want it to. And I think Holgerson's kind of that mind when you hear him talk about Luke too. But as for who else needs to step up, I mean, it's Heinrich and it's Carter Nelson. First off, I mean, you're just maybe they're not the exact same type of tight end, but Heinrich is going to have to be a quick study at figuring out all the finer points of that position and being able to contribute right away. And then, Carter Nelson, much the same way. This is his first year at that position. He's got all the talent in the world and freak athleticism. But the one thing we know with Holgerson is to be on the field, you're going to have to know your details really well. They're not going to put someone out there that can't do the basic stuff. So it's just a matter of how fast the studies those guys can be. And if they are, I still think that room looks good, but there is a lot to prove.
BC, when you look at the confidence level that came out of Ja'Cory Barney, we're talking about punt returns and Mike Eckler, where is your confidence? Where are you stronger in? Ja'Cory's ability to lead the nation in punt returns, or Mike Eckler's ability to potentially have an actual punt return unit this upcoming season for Nebraska?
I think they fit together well. I guess if I had to answer one, it's the Eckler thing, because that's like there's proven data behind it, right? Like if you look at the last 4 years at Tennessee, they had the, SEC top returner of the year 3 of the 4 years. They were also really good on the other side, by the way, of like pinning teams inside the 10. So it was a nice combination platter they had going there. But I think that's where Ja'Cory could say that yesterday. And some people might have rolled their eyes because they have 73 return yards last year, something like that. So recent history doesn't suggest that's even a possibility. But there is sort of a collision in your mind of like, well, that seems unlikely since we haven't seen a really talented punt returner since like DeMornay Pearson-L around here. But also, you know what? Eck got Tennessee rolling pretty fast. And, has a lot of juice in that building right now about special teams and guys wanting to be involved with it. So who knows, So I like it, actually. Just my takeaway is sometimes I don't like when guys talk out of school a little bit, but I think Ja'Cory Barney is one of those players who he showed his first year. He's all in on this thing. He'll take a hit. He'll get right back up. He's got that confidence. He's had it since he was in high school. He told me when he was a recruit, I'm going to go there and make a difference as a true freshman. He was right. He did. And so I don't mind a little of that Miami swagger popping up here and there because I do think that group needs a bit of confidence. And I'm guessing Mike Eckler's telling those guys to walk confident. Be a group that believes in yourself, that you're going to do stuff. So I don't think he said anything that probably they didn't like over there. That's probably fine.
Yeah, Ja'Cory has seemed like this has been a big week for him. I mean, he got compliments not only from himself, but also from Dana, from Matt Rule. When it comes to the special teams unit, if I were to tell you that you could know the result, that it would improve and be consistent, and you would have, we'll say like a B or B plus rating for the entire season from the kicking game or from the punt return unit, which do you think would make a bigger impact for Nebraska?
Great question. I'll take place kicking on that. Okay. I'll take a kicker who, I mean, if you tell me right now Nebraska has a kicker that's like 14 of 17 or something, and they're pretty money in that from 30 to 39, it's like automatic. Maybe they missed one in the 40s and one from beyond 50, but otherwise it just feels like, okay, they're going to make it. You start to believe it's going in, sort of like you did back in the Henry Brett Maher days. That is such a weight off a team's shoulders. Like when you're driving and you're inside the other team's 40-yard line and you're nearing the red zone, when you think you've got 3 points in your pocket no matter what, and especially late in the game scenario, like against Illinois where you're driving and you feel like, okay, guy's going to make it if it has to settle for a field goal. I just think that's the biggest deal. The college game, more and more each year, is going to resemble the NFL game, I think, in the parity and how close these things are and the 2-minute drives to finish it. And as we know, on Sunday, every afternoon from 2:50 Central to 3:05 Central, you're watching a team try to drive, and they have to have that kicker who can hit a 48-yarder, a 52-yarder to win the game, and that decides happiness or sadness for the whole fan base. So that's why that would be my answer. But obviously you'd love to have all of it.
Yeah. And you can make an argument too, that the place kicking for the offense would be great, because if you can guarantee yourself points when you cross a certain part of the field, that's awesome. But the defense over the past few years has probably had some frustration with that version of the special teams, because the, offense puts it down the field, but then misses a field goal. So no points. So then the defense has not only more pressure to get out and get a stop quickly, but then over time and over the course of a game, the less points you have, the more pressure there is on the defense to give up less points as well. So it's kind of a twofold answer. I think I agree with you. At first, I was leaning punt return just for explosion and everything else that, you'd mentioned DeMornay, Pearson-Ell, and kind of that next element of the game. But place kicking seems to have that ripple effect that could really just calm the nerves a little bit, especially when you get into the storm of a Big Ten season.
Yeah, it's one of those, Austin, where there's not a wrong answer. It's a good question, but you could pick either one and make your case to the jury, and people would probably nod their heads. But, if you're talking special teams, one segment that I think will be key, I'm working on a story on Archie Wilson right now, the punter, and talked to the Pro Kick Australia guy out there who trained him. Can Nebraska excel sort of like Tennessee did with Eckler, where they were great at pinning teams inside the 10-yard line? And then can you back that up with a 3 and out? And then we're talking about that return game. You get the football on the other team's 35-yard line, or even deeper than that, because you are so good and so complete in those different phases of special teams play. If you go back and look at some of the stuff at Tennessee, there's a big game the Vols were in a year or two ago. They pin someone at the 2-yard line, they get the 3 and out, and then they return the punt 40 yards for a touchdown. Obviously that's the best case scenario, but something like that where they can play off each other, special teams, defense 3 and out, nice return where you're not going to bungle it back there. That can make all the difference in this league. Iowa's proven that they've made a living off of having bad offense and still winning 3 more games than people think they should because they excel at that.
BC, what's your beer of choice or Big Red preview tomorrow?
I haven't looked at what they got going. So I'm on the clock, so that'll be my answer. I'm on the clock, and I'll stick with the water, Gatorade, whatever.
All right.
But I'll enjoy watching the folks around me have a cold one as they try to dissect how many wins this team's going to get.
I thought there were too many Modelo's. I saw the photo, and it was like Michelob Modelo's. They had the Bud Light packages and such. Way too many Modelo's for my liking. I don't know that many people that enjoy a Modelo that often, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the people who love a Big Red preview, that's their thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Someone will have to do that story where they kind of take a survey, see what the percentage is there on what sells the best.
Fair, yeah. Okay, so last one before we get you out. What are you going to train your eyes on for Saturday? Is there anything you're specifically going to be looking at, or are you going to try to just take it in?
I think in our case, we're always darting our eyes all over the place, but I am really interested in the O-line and just how you finalize that picture. I still think Elijah Pritchett's your favorite at left tackle, but I think he has to earn that. Gunnar Gatula is a good player and he can bounce to either side. And then you've got Tyler Kanak trying to make his case at right tackle and Teddy Prohaska being back. That's just a really interesting scenario to me that we haven't had as much, where there's 4 guys for 2 spots. And I think a lot of people think Pritchett's left and the right has to figure itself out. But so that's one thing. And then I guess the secondary is really interesting to me. Just is Andrew Marshall, do they kind of show you who's first out there? Is he the guy opposite Sierra Wright? And then who's sort of on that next line? I think there's a lot of good guys like Jeremiah Charles Blyhill right in the mix, Amari Sanders, Caleb Benning. So the secondary has so many guys to go through that you're going to kind of have to try to sort out whatever you can whenever you get your eyes on them.
All right, BC, appreciate your time as always. Enjoy your Gatorade and water out there tomorrow. I'm looking forward to hearing the story on how much water and Gatorade might have been served at Memorial Stadium.
Well, just keeping it professional, you got to, at least that's what I'm going to say on the air. So, yeah.
All right, I love
thanks
it.
for having me. Yep.
Thanks, BC. All right, that was Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7. Always great stuff from him, and I feel very confident in what we're going to be seeing on Saturday. So I'm looking forward to. I don't know. There are always storylines. There's always something to see. Oh, this guy did, played well, played strong. But it'll be interesting to see. Maybe the storylines in the stands. How many fights break out?
I was going to say we could send Matt McMaster down to do the survey.
Yeah, he's on a drinking vacation, isn't he?
He is in Chicago. I don't know when he gets back. He'll get back by Monday.
Many Beer Friday for him. All right, so we'll get to some odd news and odd sun up next, right here on the Connor Happer Show in 1620 The Zone.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
Connor Happer Show, 1620 The Zone. Austin in for Hap and producer Joe in for producer Josh.
Yes, sir.
So this is the odd news with Odd Joe.
Odd Joe.
There you go. All right.
That's a new one.
See you, Joe. Take it away.
All right, first one's out in Baltimore. So, Michael Phelps is a huge Baltimore Ravens fan. He's Baltimore, Maryland native. So he agrees to give swimming lessons to the actual team. So apparently he plans to visit his hometown NFL team by giving the lessons to a few Ravens players who requested help.
Players?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Interesting.
In particular, Ravens cornerback Marlon Humphrey posted a video with the request for the Olympic icon Tuesday on Instagram and X. The video featured Humphrey, offensive tackle Ronnie Stanley, safety Kyle Hamilton, and tight end Charlie Collar inside the new recovery pool at the Under Armour Performance Center in Owings Mills, Maryland.
Oh, okay. So they're swimming in the recovery pool?
Yeah, they're swimming in the recovery pool. So
that can't be that big. It can't be that hard to swim.
This is what was said. Hey, Mr. Phelps, we have a problem, the Ravens player said in the video. Did you know that 1 in 3 Ravens cannot swim? We have a solution for you, sir. Come to Ravens training camp and this beautiful aquatic center and teach us how to swim. And then Phelps responded Wednesday, I got y'all. Let's do it.
That's funny. That's really great. I want to see more content from this. I need TikToks. I need YouTube shorts. I want it all. I want to see what because Michael Phelps, I want to see him put like the hot press bubble things on their back too and like have those ones yoided off. I want to see the entire process.
I could probably go down to Baltimore to get a little training session.
Can you not swim?
I did not take swimming.
Oh,
lessons.
Joey. That's like
my childhood.
I'm shocked when I meet people that don't know how to swim. That's always so surprising to me. Maybe I just grew up in a very privileged river. Maybe that was just my skill. I'm just a fish boy at the end of it.
My childhood is surviving and advancing.
Well, funny enough, then swimming for you would be perfect because it is all about survival.
Yes,
none of it's about thriving. It's all about survival. All right, what's next? I like that one. Good start.
Okay. So Connor mentioned this throughout the week. It is Hug Watch in the MLB, and there's this one oddity where two teams are playing each other in the game, and one of the players leave. One dugout to the other. So it happened the other day between the Rays and the Yankees. This time it was with Jose Caballero. So he turned an inning-ending double play for the Tampa Bay Rays in the 5th inning, then batted in the 6th. By the bottom of the 7th, he was on the other team. In a strange development, even for trade deadline day around Major League Baseball, the Rays shipped him to the Yankees while the teams were still playing each other yesterday afternoon.
I love those stories. They're so funny.
So he was removed from Tampa Bay's lineup during the 7th inning stretch, and the deal was announced after the Yankees nailed down a 7-4 victory in a game interrupted by rain for nearly 3 hours in the 5th. And Aaron Boone, the manager, said he saw Caballero in the clubhouse, so that was a little odd. I saw him actually hugging people in the 8th. Did not describe what the hugging form was, if it was a full-on bear hug or a side hug.
Just a quick dap and brother it up, right?
That's
what me and Caleb Henry did a little bit ago.
So after learning he's been traded, Caballero exchanged hugs in the Tampa Bay dugout at Yankee Stadium with his Rays teammates and manager Kevin Cash. Both clubs were active right up until 6 p.m. the deadline, where they made some trades with throughout the league. But the 28-year-old Caballero has 34 stolen bases this season, tied for most in the majors. He's batting .226 with 2 homers and 27 RBIs in 86 games, and had started at shortstop, second base, third base, in all 3 outfield positions.
Yeah, people love a hug, man. People love the hug.
But yeah,
hug season.
Connor warned us we were going to get this oddity at some point, and it happened yesterday.
We didn't get it with Cags when he left the Storm Chase. We should have. How many people do you think he hugged on the way out?
No.
How impactful was his week in Omaha?
Well, there was premature hugging at one of the games earlier in the week, but there was no trade happening at the time. But the trade then happened later on.
People knew. They knew the hug was coming.
I called it a rehearsal hug.
Ooh, very good. Yeah. You got to practice your hugs with the boys. That's right.
Anyway, last story. We'll stick with baseball. A giant baseball with 6,750 signatures break world record.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw this.
How big is this baseball?
It's a huge baseball.
Okay.
It's like a crane wrecking ball. I would say the size.
Gotcha.
So a giant baseball taken on a tour of minor league baseball stadiums broke the Guinness World Record by that number, 6,750. The 8-foot diameter replica baseball started its journey June 24th at Victory Field, home of the Indianapolis Indians, and visited 15 parks before arriving its final stop at the MLB flagship store in New York on Tuesday.
Nice.
And it examined the ball. The Guinness World Records examined the ball and determined that 6,750 verified signatures on its surface, earning the title for most on a single item of sports memorabilia. The previous record was 2,146. And that was set by the Cambridge United Football Club last year when it gathered fans to sign a giant inflatable jersey.
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot of signatures.
But yeah,
I'm actually curious the amount of signatures. I'm trying to do the math in my head. Like, how many signatures do you think you could fit on a regular size baseball? Because
you could only probably fit probably 10.
I don't know.
Depends
on the size of everyone's signature. Yeah. But then every signature has its own design and all that other stuff to it too. So I don't know. I think if you really squeezed it, I think you could get 25 onto one. It'd be tiny, but I think you could do it. But then you're getting into essentially they just can't cross over. That would be my thing. It would break the record if you see any markings that double up on one another.
I just can't imagine being the person counting all of those
by
hand.
Yeah, and also, how do you track those? Do you red marker them and you just go back and you find it?
People lined up to sign the baseball, so there's
so you just counted the people.
Yeah,
okay.
Just random people on the street just were attending the games.
Okay,
just lined up to sign the baseball. That's kind of how it happened.
I dig it. Good stuff.
Yeah,
good stuff.
That's all I got.
Nice job, Joey. Yeah. So we got couple odd news in there. Pretty good. I like it. All right, so that was Odd News with Odd Joe.
Odd Joe.
Hanging out with us,
I like
of course.
Name.
Yeah, right? It doesn't have the same, Odd Son, but, not all of us were born with great last names, unfortunately. You could have done Odd News with Jacob's son, except it's Sen, so.
That's true.
Kind of tough there.
But who got the news?
You did.
Joe did.
Yeah, Joe did. I had to double check. I had to make sure because I was very nervous. I don't know if I can get that weird news like you can.
Oh, it's easy.
Got that weird news gene.
Got to learn it from Got Good Genes.
Got good genes. That's right, Sydney Sweeney. Hey, you don't want to confirm or deny that you and Sydney Sweeney are talking, right?
No, I plead the fifth.
Okay, all right, Joey, keeping it locked down. So hey, whatever it is, I'm happy for you. Whatever it is, for better or worse. Coming up, Joey and I are gonna break down a little Big Ten and SEC talk, and not in the usual way. No, I wanna find out which conference will win the war of the first coach to be fired, the first to lose to a non-Power 4. To have more preseason top 25 and more. That's coming up next on 1620 The Zone on the Connor Happer Show. right, welcome back. 1620 The Zone. I'm Austin, in for Connor Happer. That's Joe, and he is in for producer Josh, hanging out with us here on the Connor Happer Show on this Football Friday. Football Friday. That's right. Hey, we do have a great deal going on right now. 1620 The Zone, giving away 4 packs, general admission tickets in the Nebraska State Fair. That is August 22nd to September 1st. If you want to get back to my neck of the woods in Grand Island, Nebraska.
Yeah, and we'll give those away going into the break. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, so listen. Is that a threat? That sounded very threat-y. Stay tuned for that. He said, just give me one more. Give me one more.
Stay tuned for that.
See, that was better. It doesn't come across much of a threat. But yeah, we will. The fourth caller today at our conclusion of our Big Ten SEC talk will win the 4-pack of tickets for the Nebraska State Fair. 4-pack of tickets. Again, that is from August 22nd to September 1st. So we're also not only in football season, we're in State Fair season.
Yeah, we're approaching that very shortly.
That's right. Okay, so for people trying to win the State Fair tickets, what is that number to call there, Joe?
402-951-1620. We'll do that going into the break in a little bit.
That's right. So you'll have to be the fourth caller to win. We will get that to you later in the show. But now we're talking a little bit about football, and we're getting you into Big Ten and the SEC. How much better can these two gladiators get? Well, I know that everyone's been yapping and talking about, and even me included. I got caught up in a firestorm of different things. That was my own fault. But I want to know which of these conferences is going to fall on their face first. That's actually what I'm more curious about because it's more fun and it's Friday. First day of August. We've been going all summer long about which conference is going to have the more CFP representatives and which conference plays non-conference games and all that good stuff. But I ask you, Joey, which conference do you think will have the first coach fired coming into this 2025 great season? So if we look through some of the biggest names that are on the hottest seats, I would say the SEC actually has several seats that are simmering to maybe warm. I don't know if there's anyone as red hot on fire as we see in the Big Ten.
I think I got a name in mind. Is Sam Pittman still coaching for Arkansas?
Arkansas? Yeah, I think so.
Because Arkansas has been expecting to be a little relevant in football.
Okay.
I could see them as one of those teams that could make a mid-season firing mood. You never know.
So you're going to take Arkansas first for your pick?
I think with the SEC, with some of those teams, there's a lot more powerhouses in the conference.
Interesting.
Unlike the Big Ten, Northwestern, Purdue, they're not a powerhouse
So
program.
to be clear, you're picking Sam Pittman as the first coach in both conferences to be fired?
I would say from the SEC.
Okay.
So I'm kind of determining my options right here.
Fair. Yeah. Okay, let's do that. So let me give you some Big Ten options first. All right. So we've got Luke Fickell in Wisconsin, who that media is eating him alive currently. And it's Wisconsin football's own accounts that are doing it. Those pregame press conferences, those fall camp pressers, they look horrifying. I mean, they look like they are just brutal to have to sit through. But nonetheless, they're being good troopers, good warriors. How quickly does Luke Fickell's seat get warmer for Wisconsin? Well, their first game is at home against Miami of Ohio. So you have a 7 p.m. kickoff for, I believe, that Thursday night, the same day as Nebraska-Cincinnati. All eyes will be more pointed towards Nebraska-Cincinnati, but don't doubt that if that game is close in any regard, the louder conversation will be happening in Madison, for better or worse, whether it is a win, a close win for Wisconsin, or if it's a loss. I mean, lo and behold, if that one's a loss, Luke Fickell might be out the door pretty early. But it's well known, Wisconsin's football schedule is absolutely insane this year. They have to play several of the best teams across the Big Ten. They've got, I've got to make sure that I get this up correctly. Give me 1 second. So I want to make sure I get their road games right. So they've got road tests at Oregon. They'll have Washington at home. They have Ohio State at home, Iowa at home. Well, Camp Randall, especially when, they're not having the greatest season ever, not well known as one of the best places to really get up and get going. I don't doubt that when Iowa runs in Wisconsin, we'll get going for that. But if they get run out of town by the Hawkeyes, could there be a switch leading into that Ohio State game? Or is it sometime before then? Because their games leading in, Wisconsin at Alabama in their third game, Maryland at Wisconsin, Wisconsin at Michigan, Iowa at Wisconsin. I think somewhere in that span, if the wrong game goes out, that could be the axe that drops on Luke Fickell.
It just depends. It just depends on a team's schedule, and Wisconsin's expected to not have a great production just given how their schedule looks like.
At best, they could probably be 6-6, 7-5, and that's with a lot of upsets on that schedule.
Yeah,
a lot of upsets.
Yeah, you just got tough games at Alabama. You mentioned at Michigan, Iowa, Ohio State at home, at Oregon, Washington.
Yeah,
not a very easy schedule for those Badgers. But yeah, Luke Fickell is a name you could definitely keep an eye on because he's been expected to take over Wisconsin and lead them to the right direction after what he did at Cincinnati, leading them into the college football playoff appearance.
Now, I know you said Sam Pittman, but I actually want to venture towards Auburn and go to Hugh Freeze on the SEC side because that first game on a Friday night at Baylor, it's kind of an interesting matchup, right?
Nice little non-conference.
If Auburn drops that to a Big 12 school, you think that they would probably get back-to-back wins against Ball State, South Alabama. If there's a chance that they're 2-2 and drop to Oklahoma on the road and then fall to Texas A&M, that's a really, really tough position to be in if you're Auburn and, of course, head coach Hugh Freeze. But I still will lean towards, I think the Big Ten's going to have the first firing because I don't know that there's just Luke Fickell. I think also Lincoln Riley could be on the hot seat. I think his would come later in the season or at the conclusion. But I do think if we're looking at first coach to be fired, there's 4 names for me, 2 from each side. It would be Freeze at Auburn, Napier at Florida, which would be a fairly obvious one as well with, especially if Lagway is going to miss some time at the beginning of the season, and then Riley and Fickell. So that's where I would lean towards that. So in that sense, I'm going to say the Big Ten would probably have the first coach fired in the season. But are you going to lean towards the SEC?
I'm going to lean towards the SEC because there's just a lot more powerful teams in that conference. They're the big daddy of them all. I would say.
Well, that's more the Rose Bowl, but that's fair.
Well, playing in that conference, it is
fair enough,
according to some media experts.
Okay, so this is where I'm actually
but the expectations are up there. Not saying the Big Ten's not like that, but the Big Ten, there's a lot more teams with higher expectations.
True. So this is where I'm actually very excited to get into this one. Which conference do you think has the first non-Power 4 loss in the conference? So it's almost kind of the same conversation, but you almost look the opposite direction where you look towards the worst teams in the conference, right? And you try to find and pinpoint when that first loss would be. Can I actually argue that I think that both may have losses in week 1? And so
it's possible.
My first one that sticks out the most to me is Mississippi State and Southern Miss. That game is on Saturday, August 30th at noon for Eastern time. So an 11 a.m. kickoff, that big noon kickoff, not for the SEC. That's just for ESPN. But as you look across the rest of that opening week slate, Western Michigan, Michigan State, that's not necessarily a game that I would mark down directly and say, oh, that's a definite win for Michigan State and Sparty. I'm also not incredibly confident. I really do think Minnesota could sneak up on people, but Minnesota overlooking a Buffalo team in their opening week, that would also be interesting. And definitely do not overlook Florida Atlantic against Maryland. That's another team that could take them down. The most obvious one to me in the Big Ten, Northwestern playing Tulane in New Orleans, an 11 a.m. kickoff. Northwestern may just walk into a complete drubbing in that contest.
Would you consider that as an upset, though? Northwestern at Tulane.
Good point. So in this parameter, it would just be the first conference team to lose to a non-Power 4 opponent. I wouldn't say that that's an upset, but it probably will be Northwestern.
Yeah, that's very likely.
So in the general sense of, okay, which team is probably going to drop the first non-Power 4 game, it is probably Northwestern in the Big Ten. But I think the SEC has plenty of opportunity in that same sense as well. All right, so let's move down this list a little bit more. I want you, Joey, tell me just how you feel right now. Which of the conferences do you think will have the single highest TV rating for one game? You can look at a lot of these different ways.
For one game, I would say Ohio State, Michigan would be.
I'd say Ohio State. I think Ohio State, Texas will be very highly rated too. It's a standalone game on its own. The Iron Bowl always performs well, but if Auburn might be out of it, the national audience may not be there.
Don't forget Texas, Oklahoma, the Red River Showdown.
And I believe we have Georgia, Alabama again as well.
We do have a Georgia Alabama game.
So those ones always be good. There's a Georgia Tennessee in mid-September. I mean, there's a lot of good games on there. And yes, this will differ a little bit as we see the season progress. But if you had to lean towards one, which conference has the single highest rated TV game? And we'll say just regular season.
Well, I just mentioned it before, Ohio State, Michigan, that just the anticipation of that game, how much those two dislike each other.
Mm-hmm.
You see the trash talking. You saw the post-game activity last year at the shoe where Michigan planted the flag and there was pepper spray on the players.
All right, you want me to
it's just the anticipation. If you're talking one game, it's gonna be Ohio State, Michigan by a landslide.
Do you want me to go full homer network here?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think Nebraska Penn State has some good possibility there.
Really?
Nebraska's training towards a 10-win season at that point. Let's just say, go back to the old USC content, right?
Yeah.
What if that would be unsportsmanlike conduct, not the Trojans? If Nebraska is on door number 1 and they're undefeated going into that Penn State game, that's arguably a top 3 contest in the country. It would be tough for people to not tune in to what they would see as nationally a rebuilding storyline, a Cinderella storyline with Nebraska, and James Franklin and Penn State having to avoid the big game loss that they have suffered so many times. Be a lot of storylines on that. I don't know how many national storylines I would follow. I'm curious. So that is November 22nd. So if we scroll through the SEC slate, let me see if I can pull up what games the SEC would have in that same regard. You'd have Tennessee and Florida.
That's a good game.
That would be good. I think Nebraska, in this scenario, Nebraska Penn State would be good. You'd have Coastal and South Carolina.
And another factor into this is where they're placing that game.
Mm-hmm.
At either the 11 a.m. spot, 2:30, 6:30. Just depends on when they could get that game scheduled.
So things are very interesting because the SEC, this is almost their bye week. This is where Samford will be at A&M, Charlotte's at Georgia, Alabama, Western Kentucky's at LSU. So in terms of the national scope, Nebraska, Penn State, you want to draw a lot of eyes. That's kind of the way to do it. I think you're right. If that's a night game, somehow they can readjust it, get that schedule moving. I think that will be very, very interesting where we go from there and kind of see how that translates.
And here's the thing. Do you want that to be a night game knowing the Iowa game will be early Friday morning?
That is true. Hey, whatever the TV gods say.
That might be hinting a big noon Fox game or potentially a CBS 2:30. You got to factor in with the other Big Ten conference games.
That's fair.
That schedule.
Schedule boy Joey, you would know. You'd be TV boy. Yes. All right, so let me end it at this one. If you're looking at those conferences, individual accolades, which conference is most likely to have that? Odds-on favorite right now would be somewhere around Jeremiah Smith. I was going to say Arch Manning is up there too. So you got heavy hitters on both sides. I know where I'm leaning. I'm curious to know what you're thinking. It depends on the position and the Heisman Trophy. Recent memory has been quarterback heavy. Yeah, you're going to definitely see Arch Manning as the favorite.
Jeremiah Smith will be up there, but it depends on how he does this season with whoever's going to start for the Ohio State Buckeyes at quarterback.
So my thought leans towards how many more Heisman Trophy winners, like how many more potential Heisman winners can you have in your conference? And the more dominant, as it sits right now, the more dominant conference in terms of quarterback potential and where people are leaning towards the opportunity for them to win maximum awards would be the SEC. Norris Sellers. You also have got Arch Manning. I know a lot of people would say that Austin Simmons would be like an outside looker in. You've got Stockton, Georgia, that people would lean towards as well. In the Big Ten, you could say that it would be any Ohio State quarterback. It would be Jeremiah Smith. But kind of from there, Drew Aller's up there too. Man, you do kind of run out of just recognizable names right at the top.
The
right?
Big Ten hasn't been a top heavy quarterback conference this season. Drew Aller's probably got the best chance to win in that quarterbacks.
So it would be interesting to see. I think I would lean towards SEC just for pure volume and because of the voting potential of that group as well. But if I were to pick a non-SEC Big Ten school, you'd probably have to lean K-12 and SEC in Clemson. I'm interested to see how this all shakes out. We do have more if we need to get to it too, but it's a football Friday to start a football month, Joey. Doesn't it just feel so good just to get back on the regular?
Yeah, don't forget we got all the other NFL preseason games starting next Friday.
That is true. And we haven't even talked about the Hall of Fame game yet.
We can do that.
Yeah, we can do that. But before we get there, let's get into our 4 packs of general admission tickets for the Nebraska State Fair, brought to you by us here at 1620 The Zone. Again, this is August 22nd to September 1st at the Nebraska State Fair Fairgrounds in Grand Island. So you need to be the 4th caller to win this 4-pack of tickets. And Joey, what's the number people need to be calling?
402-951-1620. I'll repeat again, 402-951-1620.
All right, very nice. Be caller number 4. We can get you in for some Nebraska State Fair tickets, and we'll do that through the break. Coming up now here on the Connor Happer Show. 1620 The Zone. Zone.tv. Hey now. Austin in for Connor. And producer Joe in for producer Josh.
I'm here.
We do have a text into my own mobile device from one Matthew McNair. Hey, Matt. You ready?
All right, what does
Matt says he's upset with me.
Why?
And you guess why? He said one of my hot takes today is not sitting well with him.
What is it?
He says that an ostrich is an incredibly powerful animal that can run up to 45 miles per hour. Their kicks can shatter cement, and that he is PO'd at me. He said it's hitting you in the chest is comparable to being hit by a Ford F-150. No, he said Ford. It's all right, man. Everyone makes mistakes. I can take an ostrich. I'm smarter than an ostrich, and I'm a human weapon. Look at this. Look at me, Joe. You see this? Yes. Human weapon. H-Dub. That's what people call me. In the streets, at least. That's what they say.
Mean streets of Omaha.
The mean streets of Omaha are saying that I am a human weapon. You gotta be careful with these things. I don't want to get too much into ostrich talk, but yeah, we are trying to check on that audio in the stream. We appreciate it. So thanks to everyone for letting us know. Get the stream back up, Joey. It's not a you thing. We're just trying to fix it all, right? Can you walk me? What happened here? Did the stream just go down like a couple of days ago, or what happened?
It had a random update like after the Happer show on Wednesday, and then when Nick restarted the computer for the unsportsmanlike conduct, then it did an automatic update, and it screwed everything up. Not just our zone computer, but all the computers in the building.
What?
So
is that one computer updated?
No, it's just because of the update wiping.
Gotcha.
The radio station building.
Interesting. Okay. Good to know. So if you do want to join in on our either ostrich talk, you can either enter the text line. You can also we have a commenter now. Are Happer villains required to make outlandishly confident false statements? True, yes. Happer does have a sign that confidentiality confidence report as we walk out the door. But again, if you want to text in, you can also hit us up in the chat online. So if you have my mobile number, as one Matthew McMaster does, you can also text us there too. Matt adds, ridiculous statement on your behalf. I saw where you were coming from with the atmosphere thing, but this is insanity. I doubt it. No, listen, I'm not going to go through my ostrich game plan with everyone right now because it's football season, Joe. It's football season.
Yep.
And that means how we kick off the football season. Now, we talked about it earlier in the show. Where were you for the Hall of Fame? How did you absorb football for the first time to begin the 2025-2026 season? Did you stay at home? Did you go celebrate with the boys?
I just watched it in the living room, watched the first half, and I had to go to bed early because I had to get up at 4:30.
Now, admittedly, I did turn this off at halftime, but from what I saw, a 34-7 victory for the LA Chargers. Also, that second quarter was just awesome. I turned on the second quarter. I think it was legitimately like 15 minutes. I don't think that it sprinted through. Detroit had the ball for like an entire 10, 11-minute drive. It was beautiful. They went for it on fourth down multiple times. Tirico was on his game. He was making fun of Jared Allen's mullet. Chris Collinsworth was being Chris. A new Chris Collinsworth meme dropped like in the middle of the broadcast too because people were making fun of him. It was delightful. I love having football back on the screen. Now, the only thing we need now is some Gus Johnson impressions, and then we'll be back to full strength. That's where football season really begins.
Yeah, that's where it begins.
Here's where I ask you. Did we actually learn anything about these two teams? Because some interesting storylines. The Chargers I wasn't as interested in. I was curious to see what looked so different for the Detroit Lions because a lot of the offensive staff is gone now. We didn't necessarily see some of the key pieces we thought we would. But the Lions still did very much Dan Campbell Lion things. Went for it on fourth down. You're an NFC North guy. I've seen a lot of this team. What is did anything stick out to you from the preseason?
Not really, besides the backups that performed well. It started right at the beginning of the game at the kickoff where they fumbled. Obviously.
And you would think that they would because Detroit's had a lot of injury issues. They should have their backups ready.
But yeah, Kyle Allen's had experience in the NFL with a couple teams. So you would
Former
think
Panther.
You would think he'd not make too many mistakes. He already threw 2 interceptions early on in the first half, so it did not look good for them. But that's the only takeaway I have. Just don't get hurt, or you're in trouble.
It was also I don't know if you had the same feeling. It was so weird watching the Lions wear uniforms. in an open air like facility. I'm so used to like it took me a little bit to see the Lions in those like those dark gray uniforms. And when they would pan up and show like Campbell on the sideline, or they show the team like making a play, and just not to see the Ford Field dome like over top of it, it took me a minute to like remember, yeah, we're in Canton, Fame weekend, we're doing all that great stuff. Yeah. I thought that was it just took me a minute. But again, I'm comfortable being uncomfortable if it means football's back on our screen. Now, friend of yours truly and of the show and of Connor Happer, I assume Josh Peterson did tweet out the football season started today. It actually started yesterday.
Yeah, last month.
Yeah. But he did add a big caveat that obviously these games matter moving forward. Still the preseason. But it is a month full of football where we are going to have meaningful games at the end. I will argue there was one part of that Hall of Fame game that actually was, and I didn't need to be told otherwise. I saw it with my own two eyes, and I maybe is this more ridiculous than my ostrich take, Joe? I think Trey Lance could be good. I think that needed some confidence.
Yeah, I don't think it's a ridiculous. It depends on who you have as a head coach. I mean, he started with Kyle Shanahan. He can develop players. He developed Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy to the quarterback he is today. So it depends on the player themselves.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe a change of scenery helps.
I loved what we saw from Trey Lance because if there's no better coach to play under that will improve your confidence tenfold if you need it, I mean, he was looking it up on the sideline with him, played well, had a couple of really, really good-looking drives, and overall, you look back at 34-7 win. Yes, it's in backup. Yes, it's freezes and all that stuff. Dude, he was on time with some throws. He played under a little bit of pressure at different times, and he still was more accurate than any other circumstance we've seen him in. And granted, we haven't seen that much of him. And I know that that's frustrated a lot of people because they don't know what type of player he is, but clearly he is going into a significant backup role. He's playing behind Justin Herbert. Your role is to basically never play, and if you do, you have to perform a certain way because if you don't, the team around you is not good enough to be able to get where they're going. It's a non-stressful job until it becomes stressful, right? He's not going to Cleveland where he's trying to win a starting job. He's not in Indianapolis where he could usurp another young talent. He's not going to, an injury-prone quarterback room like in New York with Russell Wilson. He is playing at a spot where he is not guaranteed anything. And yet, the best version of Trey Lance that we've seen, and I know, the asterisks of playing in the preseason against the backups and all that stuff, but he was also playing amongst peers that were also other backups. They were performing well with him. I was pretty confident in how he looked and what he needed. Maybe he just needed that big boost of confidence. He just needed that extra little touch of positivity to keep his momentum moving forward. Just not only from that point in the season, but moving in his career in the right direction. I hope we get to see a big game out of him. And it's probably not in LA, but a good preseason with a team that might need him. He's a cheaper option than Kirk Cousins.
Yep.
He's a cheaper option than a lot of other people you could trade for to try to sign off the street. He might be worth a few more calls, depending on how he performs.
And my main takeaway for these preseason games, yes, the games don't matter, but it matters for those who normally don't get a roster spot or who are fighting for a spot on the team, or potentially other teams might be looking.
Yeah.
It's stress-free football for me as a fan of the Green Bay Packers.
Right.
But it's a good insight to see what happens with these players who normally don't get the chance.
And that's always the case with the preseason. That's why the Hard Knock show is so popular. That's why those are always more important than what is going on in the general sense. But there was always in these games, crazy stories that always come up. I don't know if you caught this one or if you had tuned out by now. The Detroit Lions, Isaac, and I believe it's Tesla, Tslaa. The story about him, he's been a Detroit fan his whole life. He showed up to his pre-draft workout and interview in his own custom-made Detroit Lion jersey that he had since he was like a kid. That is a phenomenal story. And also just insane confidence to walk in. I don't think he even thought about the repercussions of walking in. I don't even know like a way to replicate that in a non-sports sense, right? Like it's like, it would be like someone driving up to 1620 The Zone in a 1620 The Zone wrapped vehicle and then being like, you should hire me because of my car. I mean, it's absolutely insane, and especially in the career realm of professional football. I understand he was a Lions huge fan since childhood, enjoyed the experience, all that stuff. But that was such a fun story pull, and I'm really glad that they actually let Chris Collinsworth tell it, because he kept getting interrupted like 14 times during the broadcast trying to tell the story, and he kept getting mad because they were doing like other interviews, or they had this virtual enhancement to football that we'll talk about here in a sec. But Chris just couldn't catch a break. He kept trying to tell the story, and Tirico finally had to be like, yeah, no, you should go. You should tell it. And Chris sounded like my grandpa. He was like, well, it's a really good story. I just want to tell it. I just want to get to it. All right, Chris. All right, man.
That just tells you we're so back into football, Austin.
So back. He didn't give any Mahomes references, though. I was pretty disappointed.
Well, yeah, because Mahomes is not in the game.
Well, he doesn't have to be in the game for Chris Collinsworth to be thinking about.
Yeah, that's true.
Did you see any of the digital measurements?
Yes, I did.
Fan?
Yes.
I'll admit, I did not think of this at the time when it was coming about. I've been so pro adding technology into the sport. Microchips into the football when it crosses the plane. I want to guarantee 1st and 10s when you spot the ball. I want to know all this stuff. Like, all this is for sure. But it took so much of the human element out of football that I'm so used to watching the chain game come out and like watching that dramatic reveal, that it turned it into like a PlayStation 3 cutscene. That it just felt so weird. It looked so much like baseball. And yeah, I love baseball. I do. I like it in person. I think it's a great sport to be able to like sit, enjoy, and watch. The TV version of baseball, I'm usually not into until we get to the postseason. But it felt so much like we were watching a more baseball broadcast when we went to these digital enhancements and we went to see where the ball lined up for the 1st and 10 and all that sort of stuff, that I don't know. It took me out of my football watching for a second. And it's probably because it's new.
Yeah.
Probably because I'm not used to it. But if that's the way it's going to be presented across the networks and how they're going to be doing it, I don't know. I'm intrigued to know how I'll feel by the end of the season and if I grow more comfortable with it, because it's going to show up multiple times.
John Bishop made a good point this morning on social media. He said it's dependent on where the officials are placing the football, because there's still that little bit of human element into that.
Yeah, human error will still be a big part. It's a big part of this.
Big part into the measurement problem.
And I think that's one thing that a lot of people have somewhat just completely forgotten, that is going to be such a key piece to this entire instrument, right? They want to get rid of kind of the slowing down of the game when you have the chain game come out and all that stuff. But the issue was never them. The issue was where the ball was being placed.
Yeah.
And unless you have a way to guarantee where the ball is going to be either breaking a goal line, getting into the end zone, a way to determine how a player is still in bounds if they make and complete a catch, or where the ball on a line to gain is, the human error will still be there. So their digital recording just saves time. It doesn't actually solve the issue in which they were trying to get to.
I'm just curious how they're able to sense the football and determine where it's at. Kind of like tennis, where Chris Collinsworth was mentioning the whole new technology. And
it did have a tennis vibe to it. Yeah. It's a good question. John makes a good point as well. But the human error of football is one of the best parts about football, in my opinion. Pass interference calls, 50-50 opportunities that get, yellow flag thrown in. All of that stuff, to me, is one of the best parts of the sport, because you can be so well versed in it, and yet it can be so different between your opinion comparative to somebody else's. And I find that to be one of the most refreshing parts of the sport, while others find it to be some of the most frustrating parts of the sport. You can have it written down in a rule book. You can have it written down in black and white and on paper and line by line. You can read it and try to understand what's going on. And until it affects your team, it doesn't matter. The Hall of Fame game actually showed us quite a bit. And I was happy to be a participant in preseason Hall of Fame football as of yesterday. It was good to have it back.
It gave us a little preview on what to expect for the upcoming seasons. We'll probably see some new oddities as we progress the next 3 weeks of preseason football. So we'll see what will happen.
Yeah, 100%. That's what the preseason's all about.
Gotta love it.
Maybe later on the show, we'll talk a little bit more about preseason storylines that we want to see from our own teams, because, this is a Carolina Panther show. I don't know if you know that. Connor Happer.
You
Panther fan.
You love the Panthers.
No. Connor Happer, notable Panther fan. Notable. Huge Panther guy. as said so by himself. But
I think it's just one of those teams he decides to choose. They're not
Yeah.
good. They're not good.
Hey,
I'll support them.
keep that to yourself, Joey.
Hey, they had a good ending to the season, so I'll give them that.
Super Bowl champs. We'll see. Great odds if you really want to make money or just want to lose $100. Either or, whatever the case is. There are other NFL storylines going on that we can get to later on with Terry McLaurin requesting a trade. Steve Sipple, Husker Online and On 3, is going to join us at 1 o'clock. But do we have some breaking news on Nebraska jerseys, Joey?
Oh, do we?
We may. We'll have it next on the Connor Happer Show in 1620 The Zone. Welcome back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. I'm Austin. That is Joey hanging out with us. It is the B team? Question mark?
Yeah, we could call it the B team.
I've had good friend, virtual friend, Platcat on Twitter, say to me before that his favorite Connor Happer Show guest host is actually just Oddson, which, I took it to heart. You can always be better, right? You can always appease the masses a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Do your research. Put your head down. Train. Get better. This mic's going to make me mad. I'll tell you that. I can't leave it alone. But if Platcat's out there, I just want to let him know. Try my best. I want to get back into his good graces. I think he had me like top 5 because Oddson usually has to host on his own. So that is, and truthfully, doing your own, all the buttons pushing and stuff, 4 hours, it's a long day. It's a long day.
Such a tedious task.
Now, speaking of tedious tasks, the fellas at Adidas and the ladies, we may have potentially some alternate uniforms that have been released. Potentially. So, son of Nebraska on X earlier this morning at 10:50 posted that Nebraska's 2025 alternate jerseys may have been leaked on Shields' website as a coming soon. So they are an all-black uniform. Think of them as just the traditional Nebraska uniform, but these ones, instead of the red, are replaced with all black. They still have the 2 horizontal stripes on the right and left shoulders, or closer to the sleeves, and the Big Ten logo. Nothing else really changed on there. They do have a University of Nebraska, I believe, inside of the collar, and then the numbers on the front and back, and then on the shoulder blades as well. So if you ask me, I don't think that these are actual alternate uniforms. I think that they're just the black versions of Nebraska's normal jerseys that Shields probably sells because of the copyright that they probably have that they can print their own.
That's usually the case.
Yeah. Now, I am curious. Oh, that's hilarious. Dave Fight replied and put on the Iowa State all-black uniforms. They are essentially, if you think of what you have seen from Iowa State in the all-black, that is essentially what we've seen before. So, yeah. I do kind of, I don't hate the look in just replacing the traditional red with all black, but I will say that I would rather see something more unique if you're going to go with black uniforms and do it closer to that UCLA contest from about a decade ago where they did the black shirts uniform.
Oh, yeah.
White pants, black stripes down the side, a lot of black shirt homage.
Nebraska had another black uniform game.
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
I think it was the Northwestern game in 2018.
Was that a black on black one as well? I think it was.
I think it was.
If I were to, which some of my least favorites, the leather helmets were not good. Did not like the leather helmets one. I also did not prefer.
Not a lot of people like the 2012 game, the uniforms from the Wisconsin game.
The first ones that kicked off. I didn't mind those
with the letters in the front and then the small number.
Yeah, I didn't mind those. But the black helmet was definitely much overlooked because I'm never a fan of red on red. Never do red on red. No. That should never be done. Same with the Nebraska-Illinois game ones from a couple of almost a decade ago as well.
The 2014 game.
Yep, those ones not my favorites and impossible to see from.
Yeah, weren't the numbers like silver or something?
I think the numbers were either like outlined in silver, but the jersey color, it was something like that, or they were all silver. It was something. They were impossible to see. So if you didn't know who the players were, that one was tough. Jimmy and chat, when in doubt, black it out, I guess. That is another healthy opinion coming from, some of the beer sales now happening at a Memorial Stadium. Yeah. But nonetheless, it's alternate uniforms are such a tricky situation, right? Because you're never going to get 100% of people that agree that an alternate uniform is the right idea. And you're never going to get 100% of people that agree the alternate uniform will be used in the right way. Correct?
Yeah, it depends on the school, their colors. Like Nebraska, their uniforms, they're very standard.
Yeah.
The red and white. Or like Penn State, it's the navy blue and the white, mostly the white helmet with that stripe. It just depends on the team. Oregon's really the only team that could pull it off with their 20 different uniform selections.
Yeah. Sorry, just reading through the chat right here. I had to catch up. I hadn't seen that now. Anyway, when it comes to some of the alternate uniform, just conversation that goes around it, I don't know if the alternate uniform itself, like if they're going to change the color, change the scheme, the pattern, whatever, I don't know if it matters as much as who they play it against and when they use it.
Yeah,
I think that's actually what people have a stronger opinion against, because the white on white memorial 9/11 memorial uniforms and the military uniforms that they had worn against Buffalo in
2021.
Was that 21? Yeah, that would have been 2021. Those were great uniforms. They were played at home, however. And I know people have an issue with the surrender whites, quote unquote. But the other issue is when it comes to how, just when people want to see these uniforms, I don't know how Nebraska fans, just in general, accept getting geared up and ready for those alternate uniforms, right? And like I said, I've actually been excited for some of the alternate uniforms that have come out and where they have been put on, and especially where they have played the games either at home or away. But other times, man, it just feels like they're just kind of getting out there and doing it. There were some other alternate white uniforms that they used on the road at Northwestern too in the past couple of years.
Yeah, I remember.
Those ones weren't bad either. I don't mind the road alternates. And I think if you really put true serum in Husker fans, I really do think that there would be more people that would say if they were just road alternates, I think they'd be fine with that. A lot of people are beholden to the alternate uniforms being at home are not the ideal, because Nebraska wears a certain uniform at home. It looks a certain way. It's supposed to be this way. We've also had the rumor alternate uniforms of potentially the 90s throwback that showed up in one of the Nebraska highlight reels.
I think we also had the throwback uniforms from the sellout against Louisville, or not Louisville, Louisiana Lafayette, 2009, when they celebrated the 300.
Yep. So there's been plenty of them throughout, but I think a lot of people their biggest issue is nothing to do with really the uniform. It has to do mostly with when it comes about, and especially if it's going to affect their experience at the home of the Huskers.
Now, let me ask you this: are you a throwback guy or an alternate?
Those words are the same to me. In the NFL, when the Broncos bring back their alternate uniforms and they're just the throwback, those are the best version of the Broncos uniforms. They need to stick with those. I don't mind the Patriots throwback uniforms. The Houston Oilers throwback is phenomenal. Those should be the traditional ones. But I should say the Tennessee Titans throwback to the Houston Oilers uniforms. The Chargers, I think, they did new variations of their uniforms. They are now playing their throwback hits with their mid-2000s Chargers uniforms, which were the ones I grew up on. I actually really like those ones. But I'm also really beholden to the baby powder blue ones, the powder blue Charger alternates. Those are all great. But in the frame of reference for college football, I don't know, some teams got to do something new, right? Maryland is always looking goofy. They're doing their thing. And I don't even know if they have alternate uniforms. I think they just have a million different combinations that they can go for. Oregon's got a million different alternate uniforms. None of those stick out to me anymore. When they did the all white with the silvers, and I think they called them the Stormtrooper unis, those were great. I couldn't tell you an opinion on Oregon uniforms anymore. Whenever I see Oregon on the screen, I know I'm going to see something weird.
Yeah,
right?
Something new every once in a while.
No issue with them. But in a general college football sense, if they were doing a whiteout at Penn State and Penn State wore alternate uniforms, that would throw me off a lot. I would have to double check that I didn't switch to the wrong show, right? I was on the right channel. I was trying to make sure I was watching the Penn State game. Maybe the same with Alabama, Georgia. I don't really have much of an issue with, because Georgia has they've thrown in a couple of alternates at different times too. Trying to think who.
Ohio State tried a few
Ohio State
every season.
Yeah, Ohio State just updates their kind of OG uniforms a little bit, right?
For a particular game.
Right. I don't. That's a tough one. Trying to think of another significant. I actually really like Florida State's alternate uniforms. I think that they're really good, and their updated stuff is fantastic. But you can tell the programs that are so they're going to grasp and hold on to all of their traditions as far as they can, and try to make sure that is going to stick with them as long as they can too. Nothing other than really Penn State is just the one that always comes across. I know Texas might be another one too. A lot of people would say the burnt orange on there. Tennessee, but Tennessee I think's had some alternates, because they'll do the Rocky Top smoky grays, and they'll do their alternate blacks and stuff. Man,
Sometime they'll wear the all orange uniforms.
Yeah,
for
the
particular
creamsicles.
games. Yep.
Yeah. Maybe I'm talking myself more into just buying into what college football is selling these days. Everyone just needs an alternate uniform. Everyone's got to throw a random one in.
Every once in a while, it's nice for a little change of scenery, but
yeah, for sure.
Not make it permanent.
Yeah. I don't know. But I will stand firmly flat that I do believe that if Nebraska football primarily did alternate uniforms for road games, and especially like if they did alternate uniforms for their game week 1 in Arrowhead, I'm not sure many people would have issue with that. Now, if Nebraska lost, a lot of people would remember that and rue the day that they ever wear alternate uniforms in a neutral site ever again, right? They would claim that it was a curse and no one would ever.
That'll be the first few calls of Big Red overreaction.
100%. If they wore surrender rights on that Thursday night, people will already claim it as a loss, right? No matter what happened in that outcome. They could return the opening kickoff back. They'd be like, well, they're wearing all white, so it's over. We're never getting back. But if they were always to say, hey, listen, every time we go out to Northwestern, when we play Purdue on the road, if we're going to go to Wisconsin, we're going to wear alternate uniforms out there, I don't think many people would have too much of an issue with that. I think people might actually look forward to that being the alternate game. That would be my best guess. Now, I don't know that for sure, but I'm curious to find out if any of this alternate uniform talk is real, whether it's the All Blacks we saw from the Shields, if it's something that we've seen from maybe some teased hype footage that you had to really squint and look into. If any of those are true, I'm interested to see what people will think of them. And alternatively, if you are going to put them for a home game, better make them as simple as possible because it seems like the more complex people really don't like.
Yeah.
I'm going to stand on business, though. I really do love the black shirt one. If you're going to bring one back, throw back black shirt. That's what I want to see.
Yeah,
and give me crop top. Give me the 90s crop top. Cut it right halfway.
I'd like to see the helmet logos have the logo on one side, then have the number on the other side.
Good take. I do like that.
I kind of like the old fashioned.
I think media people don't as much, but if you can
it's
see,
another way to determine who's on the field.
True. If you can see the number that far from the press box, I mean what are we talking?
You got eyesight problems.
Yeah, right. You got to be able to track that thing down. All right, so coming up next on 1620 The Zone of the Connor Happer Show, we'll get back into some Big Red preview. It's football month, and we have Steve Sipple. The M, what does it stand for? I guess we'll find out. Husker Online on 3, Steve Sipple's next on the Connor Happer Show.
Steve Sipple,
The conversation gets even more uncomfortable, okay?
Omaha!
Steve Sipple on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, 1620 The Zone. Austin in for Happer on the Connor Happer Show today. And we've got Steve Sipple of Husker Online on 3 joining us. Sip, how's everything going for you? I hear I need to speak up for you. Is that so?
Yeah, I mean, the hours kicked up because of the wildfires in Canada, apparently. And I'm walking my dog, so there's some extraneous sound that usually doesn't accompany this interview. So yeah, just crank it up a few notches.
Okay, yeah, we'll see what we can do. I'm not known for being quiet, so I think we can handle that part of it. I'm with you though. Every time I see that the Weather Channel alert come across my phone, I see an air quality alert. I never actually know what it means, and I don't think it affects me so much. Maybe that's my youth, but I don't know. I probably need to talk with someone who has a little more weather knowledge on that to see if I need to be more cautious when the air quality is lower.
Yeah, I know it affects me because I can't breathe and I can't hear. So that's. But anyway, no, I'm fine. I didn't even know what was going on. Somebody had to kind of tell me, like, yeah, it's probably the fact that you can't see the Omaha skyline from the law. But whatever.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, Sip. Yeah. Well, it's been a big week, obviously, for a lot of different news, getting fall camp started, and Big Red Preview going on tomorrow. When it comes to what you're going to be looking forward to the most, when you get to see the team out in front of the open public, in front of the media and everything Saturday, is there something you're going to keep your eye on comparative to maybe the rest of the general field?
That's hard. It's really difficult in this because it's just there's so many things I want to watch that I don't even know. I don't even know exactly where to start. I haven't even seen Andrew Marshall. Andrew Marshall might be the starting corner. Opposite Sierra Ryan. I haven't even watched him play. I want to see what that looks like. What's the starting lineup at center? Who's working with the ones primarily on the offensive line? And you're looking at right tackle, mainly, maybe a little bit of left tackle. Pritchett, is Pritchett that guy for sure? I'm looking at Gramstad. We know what QB1 is about. We've all seen a lot of Dylan Raiola, but there's a defined number 2, and Jalen Gramstad's number 2, and that's not changing. Doesn't sound like. So what's that look like? What's the ball look like coming out of his hand on a 25-yard out route where he's got to throw it from the opposite hash? What's that look like?
Yeah.
What's Makai Nelson look like? Because it's more and more it's looking like he could be number 2. The number 2 running back. I don't know. I could go on and on. There's a lot. There's a lot that that we didn't see in the spring that we can see now.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially, I'm curious your thoughts on how much. This is where in last year's Big Red Preview, when everyone was out, they got to see Keanu Davis for the first time. They saw a lot that they liked from upcoming younger players. Do you think that we'll see another similar type of bump in public interest with the defensive line, especially with some of the newer names people haven't been able to see in Husker Red? Someone like Williams and Winari. Are people going to be pretty excited, do you think, coming out of that practice, seeing what the defensive line just looks like in pads?
Yeah, maybe. You got to be careful with, forming too many conclusions based on what someone looks like. We do that, though. I do it.
Yep.
I do it. I would counsel people to always remember it doesn't mean much if they're just practicing against air. I could look pretty good playing running back right now against air. But no. Now, some of this is Austin depends on what they're doing. What if they have a they're going to be in full pads. So it's possible you might see like an inside run scrimmage, even if it's just thudding and not tackling to the ground. There's some things you can learn from that. That's just for example. Maybe they'll go 7-on-7. You can look at receivers. You can see if receivers are getting separation from DBs and how the DBs are covering. There's a lot. I mean, there's potentially a lot. It just depends on how much the head coach will sort of let loose in a setting like this.
Yeah.
So some of the, like, what could we take away? It's unknown because we don't know exactly what the practice is going to be like. We'll see if he cuts them loose a little bit. I hope he cuts them loose a little bit since they're in full pads.
Yeah. So I'm curious to know your thoughts on what we heard from Dana the other day. When Holgorsen went up and spoke about the receivers, I thought it was interesting that we heard him call a few out by name and say, well, they're basically guarantees, right? They're going to be starters. They're good players. It's Ja'Cory Barney, Dane Key. Those are two guys that we know right now. That's kind of what we knew. Were you surprised to not hear more names, namely Isaiah Hunter, or do you think that there's still some separating in that group to go?
Oh yeah, that was good. You picked up on that. That's discerning on your part. Yeah, when he said, I lost you for a second there, but you're talking about, I think, when Dave Holgorsen, that he can say that Dane Key is a starter, and that Ja'Cory Barney. Hold on a second. And that Ja'Cory Barney is a starter. But then he got to Isaiah Hunter and said, yeah, he showed up today, but I'm paraphrasing Dana now, but he's getting pushed by Keelan Smith and Quinn Clark. I was telling Sean Callahan, my coworker, that definitely kind of caught my attention. I wonder if it caught Isaiah Hunter's attention. That's not exactly what I expected to hear. So it sounds like he has some work to do. They all have work to do. Dane Key has work to do, and Ja'Cory Barney has work to do. But definitely sounds like they're more solidified. Now, who are those other guys? That's Cortez Mills is someone we've sort of. I think that he's got a great shot to be one of those guys. How are they going to use Janiran Bonner? How's Jeremiah Jones going to fit into the picture? There's some questions at receiver that I don't think we can just assume some things that we thought we could assume.
Steve Sipple of Husker Online and On3 joins us here on the Connor Happer Show. Sip, in that same sense, do you get the feeling from conversations you've had, what you've been able to see, and maybe even looking ahead to the future, what you will see on Saturday? What is Dana Holgorsen's philosophy when it comes to a number one receiver? Is he wanting his quarterback to have a number one go-to? You lean on him when times are tough, or do you think that he would rather see more of a balance where kind of every receiver is represented about the same way? Everyone has kind of the same share of the offense.
I just don't know how to answer that. I feel a little deficient. I can't really look at his background and see what he's done that way. And honestly, it's probably dependent on personnel. I mean, if you have, I don't know, if you have Terrell Owens, you're probably going to lean on him more than you would if you don't. Someone like that. So the question is this: are they going to lean really hard on Dane Key? I don't know. I can't. Here's why I don't know. Because I don't know what kind of strides Ja'Cory Barney has made. I don't know what they're going to get out of Isaiah Hunter exactly. He had 40 catches at Cal. I know he can beat guys downfield. I think he's a pretty tough kid. Quinn Clark and Keelan Smith are unknowns. Cortez Mills is unknown. How much? So I don't know. How much can they lean on Carter Nelson, Heinrich Harburg, and Lindenmeyer? It's all it's just hard to answer. Like, you can't really answer it without knowing what their run game's going to look like.
Yeah.
I don't know how Dana will do that. My guess is spread it around. It always sounds to me like he's inclined that way. And they do have, it seems like they have 5 or 6 guys you can lean on, you can go to. Now, here's the thing. The one thing you got to put in this, you can't ignore in this conversation is Satterfield, Marcus Satterfield, a lot of the issue was he was just trying to get too many guys involved.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Rule has spoken about that publicly. It's not anything. This is not my opinion. This is what the head coaches said. That they just tried to get too many guys involved. You can't please everybody. And I think Satterfield kind of did that I think he overthought it a lot. Too many plays, he had too many plays in the playbook, trying to get too many guys involved. That's all going to get streamlined now, and it's going to look quite a bit different, is my guess.
Sid, the only reason I asked that is, one, obviously because you have to feel like the development of Dylan Raiola kind of relates to how good his receivers, pass catchers can be. But there's been somewhat of the narrative of Emmett Johnson being the number one running back, and then he's got some other guys behind him, especially now after this first week of fall camp. People seem to be more confident in the ability of some of the other running backs to support him in the run game. So I was curious if you're getting that same sense then from the running back room, kind of the same question, that will it be just an Emmett Johnson to rely on, or am I making too much of this, or is it something that Dana wants to be able to see, hey, Emmett's got to be the number one guy and others supplement him, or is it really the entire running back room is going to support the rushing game?
It always sounds like I'm dodging these questions. But you can't, I just don't know how it's going to look. Like if Emmett comes out and it's evident that, okay, Emmett's taking this game up a notch and he can average 5 yards a carry and get 1,000 yards, and he can handle 17 to 20 carries a game, then that's what it'll be. If he can handle it and he stays healthy, relatively healthy, and shows he can shoulder that kind of load, that's probably what you do. If it's not happening that way, then you go to other guys. You make it more of a committee. I just don't think you can determine it going in. And maybe they might be able to because they see film and practice every day. I don't.
Yeah.
I want to see what it looks like before I try to speculate. And I don't know. I don't know what they would say to that. I'll be very. That's one thing to watch really closely. Is Emmett that type of back?
Mm-hmm.
Where is Emmett Johnson? I hesitate to say he could go over 20 carries a game. That's a lot, so much in this league. You don't see it. You don't see it very often anymore. But could he go 17 to 20 and get you 5 yards of crack and push that 1,000 yard barrier? Is he that guy? I mean, I don't know. He had 916 total yards last year. I think he had 586 on the ground. I don't know if he can do that. That's what we got to wait and see.
Steve Sipple of Husker Online on 3 joins us here on the Connor Happer Show. Sip, we were discussing it earlier, but are you going to be interested to see the alcohol favorite of choice in Memorial Stadium on Saturday?
Not very limited interest in that subject. There's beer in stadiums all over the world. I don't know that people keep track of that kind of. Maybe they do. I know it's somewhat novel here, but it's one of those novelties that's not particularly interesting to me. I don't care what people drink. I mean, they're going to drink beer, and that's what they do in stadiums. So
I love it. Just point blank, right? Black and white to the point. That's perfect. Sip, I hope you enjoy your California wildfires and everything else that's going on. Enjoy the dog walk and enjoy some football for you on Friday or for Saturday. I think that'll be a good time.
I think it will be. I don't know how I got through this. There's a lot going on behind the scenes in this. I don't know how I got through this, but I did. So I appreciate it, Austin.
Yep. Thanks for your time, Sid. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Yeah.
All right. That was Steve Sipple of Husker Online on 3. He sounded a little bit like he had some stuff going on. Walking the dog. Sounded like he some other stuff happening around him. So I'm glad we got him. Glad we got him for Friday.
Yeah, pretty productive Friday to end the week.
Yeah.
Getting ready for tomorrow.
Yeah. I was going to follow up with him and ask because he was talking about who was going to line up opposite Sierra Wright. I found it somewhat interesting that I hadn't thought of this for so long. This is an early season or early spring season type of thing, but Sierra Wright is almost penciled in, right? Probably getting the pen out. You're freshening it up, saying that he's kind of the starter at one corner. Who's going to be opposite corner from him? I haven't heard a lot about the other corners yet. Heard about the Andrew Marshall. He's still around, hanging out. There's a good probability that we will see a lot of rotating pieces, but I'm surprised everyone, and don't get me wrong, I am actually a very staunch believer in Sierra Wright. I think that he will be a pretty good, I wouldn't say great cornerback, but I think he will hold his own pretty well in the Big Ten. But I'm interested to see that everyone is kind of already stamped approval for Sierra Wright on one side. Maybe there's more of a competition. Maybe there's not. But of course, if Steve Simple says it, it could be, could be a little bit more in stone than what we're giving it credit for, right?
Yep.
All right, so when we return, we'll get to some more football content, including maybe trade requests happening across the NFL. Could
that.
Terry McLaurin end up on one of our teams, Joey?
I don't think so.
Oh, I think you could be wrong. Find out next, coming up on the Connor Happer Show in 1620 The Zone. Welcome back. Connor Happer Show, 1620 The Zone. And, of course, on the streams, which we got a wonderful chat now getting back into it, too. Good to see them back in action. They were big on our alternate uni talk, Joey. People love the alternate uniform talk. I do want to kind of get back into these, talk a little bit. Jimmy is saying that Nike's way overrated in the main world outside of team uniforms. So, I don't know. I need to scroll back a little bit. Jimmy also added that Nike has to have a better uniform team up there in Eugene, or they do have a better one. And RDJ Van also added that every team that I had mentioned was killing alternates over Nike schools. I don't know. Did he mean killing as in like they were really good? Is that what he was saying? Or killing as if like they were killing off?
Not too sure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
RDJ,
consider
clear that up for us.
killing it off. I wouldn't
Yeah.
consider killing it off.
I don't know if many of the schools that I've seen like got rid of alternate uniforms necessarily, but someone, and it may have been Jimmy and Chad as well, had mentioned a little bit about the Adidas schools. I think Adidas has done a great job of almost rebranding their alternate uniforms, because comparatively in that mad rush of like the mid 2010s when everyone wanted to do alternate uniforms, Adidas felt like they were so far behind. Now they've actually caught up. I think that they're doing pretty good.
Yeah,
but,
once they saw what Nike was doing, especially with Oregon.
Yeah.
And I guess is Maryland under Nike as well?
They'd be Under Armour.
Under Armour.
That'd be Under Armour. Yep.
Yeah,
yep,
so
yep.
they felt a lot of pressure to be catching up on what the other companies have been doing.
Yeah. No, I felt very good. RDJ does clear up really good. So I like that. And then we do have people in chat. They don't care what the uniforms look like. We just want a good winning season.
Just win
That's
football
right.
games. That's what matters.
That's right. Yeah.
Results in the product.
Do it naked. Doesn't matter. Just win the games. Go out there with your long johns. We don't need anything else. It's a double entendre for you, Jim. Anyway, in NFL news, we actually do have a potential new trade request alert.
Yeah, I've been seeing something on social media.
Yeah. So maybe in about an hour, less than that, we'll touch up with our good friends from Unsportsmanlike Conduct in our crossover.
Ooh, a particular
And
involving a particular someone's favorite team.
Will we talk about sports? Will we talk about football? Could it be the Dallas Cowboys?
It might be about you picking a fight with wild animals.
No, that never happened. I could take down an ostrich. That's 100% true. But the Dallas Cowboys have reportedly maybe reached an impasse with their fantastic pass rusher in Micah Parsons. The Athletic Center reported earlier today that Parsons is considering drastic measures that could include requesting a trade or a declaration that he's severing his relationship with the team due to the state of the contract talks. And this is 100% the problem with the Dallas Cowboys. From the top to the bottom, they cannot get it figured out because of Jerry Jones. His biggest issue is that he has the ego in the room to continue to try to hold on and control these conversations and just hang out and do his thing, right? Like he just wants to be in control. He wants to be able to say whatever he wants and not have anything held against him. He's just getting to the attitude of the F it, I'm old attitude, right? That's Jerry Jones in a nutshell, right? He's never done any wrong, although he has. He's never, brought the wrong player to be a part of his team. He definitely does. And he also has never, critically made a mistake when it came to some of the contract talks that he's had over the past couple of years. He does it every year. Every time he seems to mess this up. Every time.
Very, very protective of his team. He's very stubborn. He's in his later stages as an owner, and he's not willing to give up the reins just yet.
Yeah.
As long as I've been saying this for a while, as long as the Jones family is running the Dallas Cowboys organization, it's hard to see them getting into the Super Bowl, getting over that hump that's been a problem since the 90s. They have not make it back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, 100%. All right, we've got Doug on the line here. Doug, you are on the Connor Happer show with Austin and Joey. What's going on, Doug?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. This is kind of a different topic, but it's the Huskers. Can we get in front of this right now as Husker Nation? Do not sport the red and white striped overall, please. Those are horrible, and that's an Iowa thing.
Oh.
Iowa fans do that. But obviously, their colors, yellow and black. Just please cancel that right now. That's my thought.
Okay, Doug, stay with me if you haven't hung up yet. So are you anti all overalls or just red and white? Like,
No.
Would you go red and black?
I think those striped overalls are an Iowa thing.
Okay.
I was over there. I'm actually a grad student from Iowa, but I'm from Nebraska. They've been rocking those for a long time. So I don't care the color. I think the stripes are just blah.
Okay, interesting. Doug with the take. Appreciate it, Doug. Have a good rest of your day. I don't know where I'm at on that. I kind of knew that the Iowa overall stripes, I guess, are iconic to them. I kind of knew. I think I just seen it more. I'm not aware of the history of it. I can tell you this, though, and I do know this for sure. I've walked into many athletic department type stores that are across Omaha, Lincoln, the state, even in the small town generic ones. You will find those red and white or red and black overalls in almost each and every one of those stores. They're sold generically. They're kind of like, they're not really Nebraska brand. I've seen a couple with the N embroidered on them, but not many. I'll tell you what, the college kids, they love those. They love them bibs, man.
They love to be a part of the team. That's what we always could say.
Now, outlining them and getting rid of them. So Doug clearly doesn't want the alternate uniform to be overalls. He would hate for that to be the case. Hate for that. Do you imagine? Now there's always every year this always drums up and runs around. Someone on the old Twitter, the old bird, will post the cornstalk uniforms, right? Where it's like the blue overalls, and then it's the arms and body are like corn stalks or something. Those are hilarious. I pray that they do that one day. That would be incredible.
I can't imagine how the fans will perceive that.
I don't care.
Or how they respond to that.
I think it'd be fantastic. I hope that they do it.
Just a one-off, that's fine.
Yeah.
But just like every once in a while, I'm not too sure if people are going to be favoring that kind of a uniform.
Listen, as someone who routinely seems to be getting people upset just without trying too difficult, it's probably just partly it's what I say. The other is partly how I say it. Let me be clear and frank that it would be awesome if, and they could do this on April Fool's Day and just release it and be like, oh, I hope you're ready for these alternate unis.
Yeah.
I think it would be great just to watch the Husker, like the old heads, like really implode and be like, that's not a traditional uniform. You can't be doing that. I don't want to see the overalls as a uniform. It would be great just to see it, just to watch it happen from the outside. Now, if they actually wore it in a game, again, do it on the road. Do blue and white overalls or something like that for your uniform and just wear them on the road.
Well, what does that mean for the home team if they're going to wear?
Yeah, you wear blue pants with like a blue stripe that's like overall painted. Then do them in red. Do them in red for the Cornhuskers. And then you can just wear like a white top, you know? I don't care what the helmet looks like at that point. That would be the best. And then just, go all in. Make the Husker N out of corn cobs and just make it as
now if they just do that with the logo on the helmet with the N.
Would you like an N made out of corn cobs, Joey?
I'd be open to seeing that, but just not a full uniform kind of a deal.
Okay, so okay. All right.
Just
true.
No.
We're workshop this with me. So do you want 3 corn cobs to make up the N logo, or would you rather have like the N be filled with like a corn cob design?
That's a good question.
This is the hard-hitting football talk you've been expecting.
Yeah, I would like to see the 3 different corn cobs making the N. I think that would be interesting to see.
I love this thought. I would love to see the 3 corn cobs on the side.
Well, you could.
I want the numbers to be corn cobs.
You could experiment that on the video game. Then
that is true. I want an all corn cob uniform. How much corn can I put into Nebraska's uniform? I want every inch of that to be a corn cob. I want the legs to be the green stalks and the husk. I want the arms. I want all yellow with like the kernel design. It would be beautiful just to watch. I'm actually I was joking before. Now I'm serious. These will be in my dreams. I may have to change my career into graphic design and see what I can make out of this.
All right, that's your next assignment.
I've got to make corn cob uniforms.
Yes, you gotta.
Okay, we got some hurdles to jump through before we get there. Think I can get a meeting with Troy Dannon if I put it on his calendar right now, 2 years from now? Be like, hey, corn cob uniforms. Dylan Rayola's final year in Lincoln.
Senior
day corn cob uniform against Iowa. Dude, count me in. And just like Doug was saying, I want Doug front and center. And Iowa will have their corn cob uniforms. Nebraska will have theirs. And Iowa's will have black and yellow stripes for the pants. And Nebraska will have black and white stripes. Or red and white stripes. Come on. This is dream. This is a dream scenario.
And people bringing in their signs saying Nebraska's got better corn.
Yep.
Iowa's got better corn.
Oh,
bring the good old.
It's a sicko's wonderland. The punt guys come back. It'll be perfect. People are kicking. Like Pat McAfee comes down. He's kicking field goals with corn cobs. It'd be so sick. all the way in. And also, I'll get like half serious right here. Make the Iowa-Nebraska game every year a night game. Every year. I don't can we just call NBC right now and get Tirico on the phone? Just be, hey, I don't care if Colt McCoy has to call this game every single season. The Iowa-Nebraska game should always be a night game. That was a tremendous atmosphere last year. I went to Kinnick. It was cold. It was brutal. Had to spend a whole day in Iowa City. It was terrible. But the environment, great. I don't mind that being a night game on the Black Friday. And also just for travel purposes, I get to spend my whole Thanksgiving. I don't have to worry about driving.
You can stay the night.
Yeah.
Stay the night in Lincoln. Stay the night at Iowa City.
I really liked it. It was quite on. I don't know how you could watch that game. And I know that there's other Power at B's. It's on a different network. They didn't have that much control for it. But if you're Troy Dannon, and it's the same argument that you made, right? Maybe an hour or two ago about talking about the Penn State-Nebraska game. And if that game, they move it to a night game. Well, then, it's a quick turnaround to get ready for Black Friday then against Iowa. Yeah, it's only a couple of hours, but it does feel a little better though, right? That Saturday game, no matter where you're coming from, no matter what time that game got over, Friday night, the latest possible time you could possibly have, right? Because even take an example for this past season. When Nebraska played Illinois on that Friday night in Lincoln, 7 o'clock kickoff time, Friday night, everyone was so worried it was going to affect high school football. Oh, woe is us. Oh, woe is me. Oh, it was Friday night high school football. I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that. They still filled the stands. They still had a great environment at Memorial Stadium. Hand up, I'll say it. Great environment at Memorial Stadium. I know I've gotten people mad about that before. But it didn't affect anything that happened the week before, the week after, the fact that that game was Friday night. If it was Friday at noon, I think some people would have said that there could be issues.
Yeah.
It was Friday at 7.
And the good thing about having those Friday games, you get a stress-free Saturday, depending on how you want to spend it after watching the Nebraska football game. Kind of depends on yourself, but you get a stress-free full Saturday of college football. That's kind of the benefit of
I love Friday night game.
Weeknight games.
Yeah. Charles in chat says if the game goes into overtime, make it a punt off, much like the MLB All-Star game.
Yeah.
I'm kind of for that.
I'd like
listen,
to
if you're a big rugby style punter, I don't know if this one works for you, but
or
they'd have it up their sleeves. They'd be ready.
Or use the kickers for in soccer, the penalty kicks.
Oh yeah, PKs.
At the very end.
Mm.
I've always
used the kickers to punt.
Yes.
Oh,
you
Joey.
Use kickers to try to make long distance field goals.
Don't tell Rob Manfred about this. He's gonna get interested about some certain different topics.
Make the kickers matter.
Hey, Tony Petiti, you want to sell some tickets?
Here you go.
Get Iowa, Nebraska to overtime. Hey, we'll handle the rest. The punt off, brought to you by the Heroes game. I think you're onto something, Joey. You have just been a masterclass of great ideas this episode. You've been phenomenal.
It's just something I would like to see. Once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
Just let the kickers decide it. I mean, we see that at the very end, but have them trade 5 kicks like you see in soccer.
Yeah.
Then have a returner at the very end. They could try to deflect the football, knock it out of the goalpost.
Yeah. That all great stuff. Just off comment here. We got ESPN, the Ocho on One TV. The big TV's got this Marcus Freeman. They keep running this promo for the Marcus Freeman Notre Dame documentary. You'll never guess who was standing next to Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame head coach, at the end of their season when they lost to Ohio State, when they were singing their fight song. Rocco Spindler. I've seen it 6 times. He's embraced arm to arm with the Notre Dame head coach. It's crazy. Oh, college football. Oh, the things.
It's approaching. Got a few weeks away.
I love it. All right. Also approaching, we've got what to watch and our crossover coming up with Unsportsmanlike Comment. We'll hit some more NFL stuff here in just a minute too. Coming up next right here on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. Another wonderful day here on the Connor Happer Show, 1620 The Zone. Austin and Joey in with you too. Great guest appearances. Great call from Doug. Having a good time. And we have, who would have guessed, more breaking news. Forget alternate uniforms and corn. We've got trade requests.
Oh, man, already? The NFL's about to start they already start their preseason, but everybody else is about to start their first preseason games. We're in training camps.
As of 21 minutes ago, Micah Parsons, thank you, Dallas, and then posted a 3-page notes app. 3 pages, Joey.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to hit him with, in fact, I'll do it right now. I'm going to hit him with the meme of...
we could have Josh read that out in the crossover.
We could. We could read it to him. Poor Josh. He's just sitting at his desk right now. He's just trying to get his grum down on, figuring out the last little details he needs before he talks to Jack Mitchell, all that great stuff. And here we are talking about Micah Parsons. He shouldn't have to deal with this on the first day of football season. That's so mean to Josh.
In his favorite,
no one should have done that to him.
Favorite month,
yeah.
August.
Oh,
knowing
brutal.
that the sport is returning.
Well, and the whole season's ruined for him now. Oh, that's brutal. You really hate to hear that. You hate to hear it. Poor Josh. I'm going to hit Micah Parsons with this. I'm not reading all that. I'm sorry that happened, or congratulations or whatever. Like, that's way too long. Can I speed read this? Okay, first line's important. Yes, I wanted to be here. I did everything I could to show that I wanted to be a Cowboy and wear the star on my helmet. Blah, blah, blah. America's team. Blah, blah, blah. Pennsylvania. Blah, blah, blah. Negotiations. Oh, okay, now we're good.
Blah, blah, blah. Carolina Panthers.
Oh, that'd be sick if he was a Panther. Oh, Josh, I'll trade you. Josh, I'll trade you straight up. You can have Bryce Young for Micah Parsons.
Oh, really?
Straight up trade. Who says no? Who says no? Okay, so here's meat and potatoes. Unfortunately, I no longer want to be here. I no longer want to be held to closed-door negotiations without my agent present. I no longer want shots taken at me for getting injured while laying it on the line for the organization, our fans, and my teammates. Goes on to say some more stuff about the media, all that sort of stuff. I do see he informed Mr. Jones afterward, my agent would reach out thinking that this would get things done. And the team decided to go silent. At that point, we decided we will allow the team to reach out to us whenever they decided they wanted to talk. This is so Dallas. Terry McLaurin had like 16 hours to request his trade and be the number one story, the number one player on the trading block, but no.
It's always chaos in the NFC East.
Yeah. It's always got to be about the Cowboys, and Micah Parsons made it about him again. This will be arguably one of the largest trade blocks that we have seen in some time.
It'll be such an intriguing holdout and see how long it's going to take for them to come up with an agreement, or for when the trade will happen, or who would Dallas consider trading him to,
and how many first round picks is he worth?
Or is he worth who would they swap him with?
Yeah. I don't know how many players you would want for Micah Parsons. Now, the Joneses are weird. They did do that Amari Cooper trade where they basically got nothing. A 26-year-old pass rusher who's an all-pro, Pro Bowl athlete and has proven it not just physically, but statistically. He's a game-changing pass rusher for the Cowboys. What he could do for a contender or a pretender would be significant. But it's a matter of who is willing to give up the key pieces for him.
Such an elite player.
Jeez, I'm trying to think of like the first teams to come. You know, this to me.
I know Packer fans will get their hopes up on.
So there are obviously layers to this, that the Joneses and Cowboys will do what they can to keep him away from the Cowboys as far as possible, right? If they do choose to trade him, if they're going to move on from Micah Parsons, they would push him so far away into the sun that he would never come back to ever hurt them in the NFC, correct?
Yeah.
So my guess is they would probably send him to an AFC team first and try to do that. And
probably a contender.
I don't know. Can a contender afford Micah Parsons? Because there's two parts of this. There's the part in which Micah Parsons needs a new contract and the part in which you have to trade Micah Parsons. So you have to trade him to a team that would be A, willing to roll the dice, that he would be willing to play for you, and B, that you can actually afford to re-sign him and have the money work out.
Yep.
So teams like the Baltimore Ravens and Pittsburgh Steelers are already kind of off the table there. Could he go to a team like the Cleveland Browns that have some salary cap potentially, would have to clear some things ahead, but have just signed their own legendary pass rusher in Myles Garrett? You could pair him up on the opposite side and do that. Would he make a move to the AFC West? The Chiefs are way too far into the salary cap.
Or how about the Cincinnati Bengals if the Trey Hendrickson deal does not go through?
The Cincinnati Bengals, but notoriously Cincinnati doesn't want to pay players.
They're
so
pretty cheap.
Would they want to trade a player for that? No, probably not.
Probably not.
I think when you look at this, it could potentially be maybe the AFC West. Los Angeles Chargers.
That's what I was thinking.
Could the Raiders make a move for Micah Parsons?
Who knows?
It's interesting. Where did you see? All right, let's get into some what to watch tonight, Joey.
Well,
and
let's start with the poll updates.
Oh, yes, please.
We did a couple polls today.
Yeah, please.
First one,
at Happer Show, by the way.
Yes. So the first one is who has more confidence, either Austin Jacobson or Corey Barney.
Yep.
67% says Ja'Cory Barney. 33% says you. And then the other one is, do you think Austin can beat up an ostrich? 94% says no.
Sorry. It's tough. Mustache Adam on Twitter also replied, glad to see the irrational confidence doesn't leave the host seat when Connor Happer isn't here. I could beat up an ostrich. I'm not worried about that. All right. What's to watch tonight, sir?
All right. Well, I'll go through the weekend slate for the MLB.
Yes, please.
Brewers Nationals on Apple TV at 5:45 tonight. Royals will take on the Blue Jays tonight at 6:07.
Big series.
6:10 on Apple TV Plus. Astros and Red Sox. Giants and Mets on the MLB Network at 6:10. Then tonight, later on, it's the Dodgers and Rays at 6:35. The MLB Network. Tomorrow there is a baseball game at the Bristol Motor Speedway.
Ooh,
the MLB Speedway Classic. That is the Braves and the Reds.
Is that a classic?
Well,
go on. Yeah, go on.
I would say so. Josh Hodson would say so because it involves
big Motorhead guy. Yeah,
well, he's a Braves fan too.
That too.
6:10 on Fox tomorrow, and then Sunday night, MLB is the Tigers and the Phillies at 6 on ESPN. The WNBA, there is a 2 p.m. ABC game tomorrow. That's the Lynx and Ace. Sunday, Fever and Storm, 2 p.m. ABC as well.
Nice.
You probably know the Big Ten Network will be doing their campus touring.
That's
they're
right.
Be in Lincoln tonight.
They are in Lincoln currently.
I'm not sure what time they will be.
I think they're there now. Yeah, I think they're there. I don't know what time they're going to be like posting a bunch of stuff, but I have seen some stuff that they are getting that going. So yeah.
And then the NFL Hall of Fame enshrinement will start tomorrow at noon. I'm assuming that's on ESPN or ABC. That would be on ESPN because of the WNBA.
Well, maybe some NFL Network too.
But also the ESPN, you mentioned this earlier, the Ocho. There will be some events on tonight. Well, starting at 2, the Bull Shooter event at 2, Pop Darts Championship at 4.
Nice.
Slippery Stairs at 5. Archery at 6. Dodgeball at 7. Pop a Shot at 8. There's a Pillow Fight Championship at 9. And then at 10:30, there's a Card-Jitsu event.
Interesting.
They're playing the Dodgeball movie on ESPN2 at 11. From 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. in case you want a late night movie.
My post-Creed activities. I could do that.
Yeah.
I know I could beat up an ostrich, and I know I could win Slippery Stairs. Those are my 2. Prime athlete, human weapon.
I would be interested to see the Slippery Stairs.
I think I could do pretty good there. Do pretty good. All right, Joey. Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank you,
it.
Austin.
I know you were filling in all week.
It's been a long week, but it's been great to be on the Happer Show.
Yes, and it's a pleasure for me to do it as well. So we will get to crossover coming up here in just a few minutes on the Sportsmanlike Conduct, as this has been the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.